Good evening, everyone. It's Friday night, which can only mean one thing. We are back for more SSRI madness. It's the Cammus Community Cup, and it's David Christie along with Dylan Pick here with you covering round two, because we are travelling all the way over to North America, virtually, of course, to Watkins Glen. We take on 90 minutes of the Glen here tonight in some of your finest GT3 machinery. Firstly, Dylan, welcome back. Have you recovered from last week?
No, the excitement's still setting in. We've gone back. It was going and we're back to Friday. I'm very excited. I woke up this morning really looking forward to today's race. Got 30 minutes extra than what we had last week. And it's a brand new circuit to ACC. It's an old classic circuit. It's always producing good racing, and I'm really looking forward to tonight.
Yep, IMSA, of course, over in America, visit this circuit every year for the Salon, 6 hours of the Glen. We're not going to be going quite that distance tonight, but certainly a lot of scores to be settled after last week. Of course, Igor Ogorodnikov taking that fantastic first win to open up the championship. Of course, we've got much to talk about tonight. We've got championship standings to talk about. We've got tonight in terms of the action, with the fact that, obviously, as you said, an extra 30 minutes as well, Dylan, and obviously a lot of tactics going to be coming into the forefront as well. But for me, just a reminder to everyone of the format tonight. Only 45 drivers going to be taking part tonight, and I say only because hundreds and literally hundreds of people entered this competition. They were all whittled down ahead of that first round last week, and what a race that we had last week out. But obviously, moving on to America, moving on to Watkins Glen. Dylan, how different a track do you think this is going to be to what we had last week?
Well, Bathurst is very technical. It's almost like, I call it the Australian Monaco of how close the walls are to you. It's a bit quicker than Monaco, but it's very tight, technical and twisty. And this is a more faster flowing track that it's going to really push for drivers, similar to how Bathurst pushes you, but the risk isn't always there of the walls, let's say, so it's going to be a lot more side-by-side action, in my opinion, where drivers might be able to take a little more risks as there's a bit more runoff, so we might see a few people with a bit more balls, let's say, going for a bit more of a risky move, knowing that they're not so close to the wall, and especially going over the top of the mountain in Bathurst, if you go from there one wrong foot and it's straight into the barrier. Here, drivers can relax a bit more, but don't always have to be as aware as around Bathurst, but nonetheless it's still a fantastic track for racing.
Yeah, it really, really is. On about the prizes that we've got as well, just a reminder for that we've got the community prize draw running as well, so for those that are watching and not taking part tonight, if you want to comment on the YouTube video, if you comment on at least 2 of the Cammus community streams and use the link that is in the description below, get yourself entered in. You've got a chance to win yourself a Cammus direct drive wheelbase and steering wheel. So that is a free to you Cammus direct drive steering base and steering wheel as well. All you have to do is comment and fill in your details on that form below. But talking of that as well, obviously some big prizes over the entire championship. Over everything, it's over £2,500 value on the prizes that Cammus have supplied us. So very, very grateful for that, and heck of a lot to be fighting for. But here is your standings then ahead of tonight's race. Igor Ogorodnikov then on full points ahead of Robbie Stapleford with that second place, 24 points. Darren McCormack will be wanting to try and get himself up ahead of that as well. Mikhail Bykov in 4th position there with Luke Whitehead in 5th. Eric Delfante in 6th. Isaac Price in 7th. Trevor Wenham in 8th position. Simone Etza in 9th position. And Wojtek Fiala rounding out the top 10. But again, just looking outside the top 10 as well, you've got to say here, Dylan, that any one of these drivers, even if they're outside the top 20, with the amount of points still on the go in the championship, they've got plenty of space that they can make up here.
Yeah, I mean, we saw quite a few really good drives from drivers a long way down the grid, but a thing to point out was Isaac Price starting at the back after he took pole last time, and the little mistake he had on the warm-up lap sent him to the back of the grid. It's some easy mistakes to be made in any of these drivers. Igor Ogorodnikov, Robbie Stapleford, it's unlikely to happen, but again, human, these mistakes can happen, and something like that can knock you down the order and make it a difficult race to be had, and then you have to climb all the way up. Or we saw Mikhail Bykov, a bit too aggressive on his driving, got himself a penalty. Those sort of things can also knock you down the standings. And anyone in the top 20 that scored points, realistically, is still in with a shot at the big prizes, let's say, later on in the championship. There's still 4 rounds to go, including this one. And certain cars will suit certain drivers, and there's a vast array. One round will not define this entire championship. It's gonna go right down to the wire, and any one of these drivers in the top 20 realistically can still win.
Yep, so qualifying underway just now. Now, another interesting little fact that I've just kind of realised here as well. Now, Bathurst is going to be one of those tracks that the drivers have had many, many months to get practice at and get good at, but of course they've only had a couple of weeks to get used to Watkins Glen here. Obviously many other sims have got a version of it, but this was just released at the end of June for Assetto Corsa Competizione, so a lot of the drivers are going to be getting used to it and making inroads. I wonder how much that experience from other sims, Dylan, is going to come to help them out when they go qualifying here tonight.
Oh, it's the same track, whatever sim you're on, but the way the cars handle, the way the track is designed, with it not being real life, it isn't a game. Everything is designed slightly differently, and it will have slightly different characteristics, but nonetheless, having that experience and knowing your way around is going to be vital to these drivers, and your braking points and your braking mods are still relatively going to be the same, so that experience nonetheless will all be there, and the drivers that have won this in other sims, say like iRacing, or just the original Assetto Corsa, will be very thankful for that experience, and it will probably go a long way to the drivers that have maybe only driven this for the first time in ACC. Yeah,
just watching Igor Ogrodnikov here with 5 minutes left to go in qualifying. One of the cool things that I always love about seeing these webcams on the competitions is watch the head movement. Watch how, as any sim racer, you know, your body makes it real. Your body makes up for the senses and the G-forces that aren't present there that you would get in the real car. Your head turns into the corner. You're looking towards the apex. You're looking towards the exit, and when you can get your foot down onto the pedal, onto the accelerator here. But we're coming down in towards the heel of the circuit just now, up the short run up the hill, then through another 2 left-handers here. Again, you've got to be so patient with this one. If Igor is going to do another lap, we'll actually keep on board and we'll talk you through this, because this has been flawless right now, looking very, very fast for Igor Ogrodnikov. A little bit wide there, but that'll still be within track limits surely as he comes out the final corner then towards the start-finish line just now. What is Igor Ogrodnikov doing with just 4 minutes left to go? It wasn't an improvement there, but down into the 90 then. This is turn 1, a right-hander with a little bit of a camber change on the inside. If you go too deep on the inside, you're going to clobber over the curb and be sent off into that runoff area on the left. Up through the S's then, a very, very straightforward section, but watch for a couple of drivers trying to take that too wide. It's not something you can do, but this is the back straight. This is where all of the money is going to be made here, getting the toe off of other cars, onto the brakes as late as you dare, into the loop then, out of the loop as well, going towards the outer loop. That was the inner loop, that that right left right section. This is the outer loop again. Camber change on that right hander sweeps you out to the left hand side more than you'd preferably want to be. Down through the chute again, a nice tight left hander. You have to be so patient getting back onto the throttle here on the right hander. It's an uphill right hander at the toe here, so called because of the way that it looks like a shoe at the track map. On the accelerator again, bit of a blind summit here onto the brakes into the right hander at the heel of the boot, and again up that little hill, and it's so easy to miss your braking point here and go off into that runoff area on the right hand side there. Again, sweeping in nice and early, nice and patient on the accelerator here for Igor Ogrodnikov into this left-hander here, the penultimate corner before we go into this right-hander. And again, you can't take too much in, but you have to be so patient, otherwise you're going to end up on that blue wall on the outside. This does look fairly solid from Igor Ogrodnikov, but believe it or not, still not enough to improve on what he had, 1:43.440, and that, believe it or not, is 0.8 of a second behind your race leader Luke Whitehead in pole position with a 1:42.6. So at the moment, our championship leader not going to be lucky if he's in the top 10.
Yeah, I mean, looking down the order, I think the best placed driver so far on the grid in terms of this championship standings and then how qualifying's going so far is probably Dara McCormack. There's also Trevor Wenham there, and there's also Luke Whitehead, I believe. Yes, he's sitting in 5th. But then, yeah, Bykov down in 8th. There's Organodikov in 10th and Stapleford down 11th. And this goes back to what you were saying earlier about anyone is still realistically in this championship here. It's like I said, cars and drivers, different tracks will suit different cars, different and different drivers, sorry. And they're all able to find better performances throughout, and as we are on board with Dara McCormack, who had a surprisingly quiet race and Bathurst last time, and then came through in the final 10 minutes to take 3rd. So I was very happy to see someone be quiet and still do so well. And we follow him round for his lap as he's starting to enter through the outer loop and now going down towards Laces and the boot complex, which you were saying does kind of look a bit like a boot on the track map, and I do like how they have named every corner about a shoe. So we've got 6 laces, 7 toe and 8 is heel. So if you hear us talking about them rather extreme, you know which one's which as he's coming through the heel now, the exit of the boot and up towards turn 9. A very tricky turn, and probably the trickiest one in my opinion. Slightly off cam, but uphill. Your braking point is so crucial because it's so easy to go brake too early and you've just lost no speed. And then you want to make up for it by getting on the accelerator early, and then you're in the wall. So it's very crucial to be very pinpoint through turn 9. It's going to be a very crucial turn throughout this qualifying session for drivers to nail. And like I said as well, coming here through turn 11, very close to the back there. Oh, who's that he just sent into the wall? One of the Team Brits, if you can find it. Sophie, if
Alexa, show me what stress looks like. that is a definition from Luke Whitehead there. Yeah, you saw just. Well, no, sorry, not from Luke Whitehead there. The problem is that when you're coming across the line, you know that you can do better. But at the end of the day, 45 cars have still got to try and qualify. They've still got to get their own space on the track. And yeah, frustration's going to happen. But well, we'll just have to see how that resolves itself onto the track. But it does look like Luke Whitehead takes pole position. We've still got Tinko van der Velde, who is now in the pits. Mikhail Bykov doesn't look like they're going to improve as well. Well, there we go. I tell you what, for viewers that are in the UK, you'll be aware that we've got a heat warning coming up next week. We're going to put a heat warning on tonight because it is going to get mighty spicy, I think, here, Dylan, with some of that aggro towards the end of qualifying there.
Yeah, there's also some bones to pick as well from last round between Bykov and Stapleford. So there's probably also ones we didn't see from last round, lasting grudges maybe, as well as things that we just saw in qualifying there. I mean, it's all to play for. We've got 90 minutes of action. It's 30 minutes more than last week, which was on about, if you did tune in last week, was very excited because the race ended too soon. It flew by. So now it's going to be a 90-minute slugfest around one of the best tracks in America, and I am thoroughly looking forward to it.
Yeah, that's you and me both, buddy. Very, very much looking forward to it. Just also noticed in the YouTube chat, we've just been updated about Sophia Ronwin, who is going to be a little bit handicapped tonight in terms of pace, because when she was picking the car, she went and picked the wrong Bentley, and it's considerably off the pace of the newer one. So a bit of a rookie error there, which is very unlike Sophie because she's very, very talented at sim racing. So yeah, that's what we call in the industry an F, isn't it, Dylan?
Yeah, and is there a penalty? We had the race director in before the stream started. Is there a penalty for the wrong car? I think they're starting at the back or something. I don't know if that was just a joke of how poor the car performance is. I don't know if our TV director can just a joke, as I was about to say, our TV director can inform us. So it is just a joke, so no penalties for that, but they won't be having the Team Brit livery on, so it's going to be a bit more difficult for us to find, but I don't think it can be as big enough of an F as what Isaac Price did, throwing away pole position by forgetting to start the car last week.
Don't know, I've done pretty worse, but it is what it is. Luke Whitehead then on pole position alongside Trevor Wenham on the front row. Row 2 is going to be Wojtek Fiala alongside Tinko van der Velde. Darren McCormack on row 3 alongside George Boothby in 6th place. 7th is Eric Delfante and Aidan Walsingham in 8th position. 9th place is Isaac Price alongside Robbie Stapleford. Mikhail Baikov in 11th position with Oneko in 12th as well. Big Bad Yiger Ogre on the our current championship leader is only down in 13th position. He's got Matteo Patricini for company on row 7. Row 8 is going to be Anton Tarasov alongside Ben Mullard. Row 9 is going to be Clyde Barney with Simone Iezza, and then row 10 is going to be Dennis Shops and Mark Brophy in 19th and 20th. 21st is going to be Romain Jacquard alongside Adrian Antamarchi in 22nd. 23rd is going to be Giovanni Pipo with Conrad Wisloki in 24th position. 25th is going to be UC Nerola with 26th in the Honda going to Regan Mitchell. It's another Honda on 27th, Sean Drysdale, as finishing off row 14 is going to be James Mead. And then in the BMW, Matt Johnson in 29th, 30th position for Pavel Schutzen. 31st is Andrew Richardson, 32nd is Dan Lenson, with 33rd going to Aaron Walker, and 34th being Yannick Valenduk. 35th position on row 18 is going to be Chris Vickers and Alan Drake Cruz in 36th position, and Chris Pinchbeck at the back of the field in the Aston Martin in 37th position. In fact, joined by Sophia Ronwin in 38th in the older Bentley. So there we go, 38 cars taken to the start, slightly less than we had on round 1. 90 minutes of the Glen. What can we expect to see tonight, Dylan, do you think?
Same thing as we saw last week. Hard fought racing. I mean, it's another classic track, good for racing. These are some of the best drivers in the sim world when it comes to it, especially on ACC, so I'd expect the same quality of racing, the same level of drama as we saw last week, and it's going to be the same throughout the championship, so wherever we go, whatever track we're at, it's going to be good fun for the viewers at home.
Well, that's exactly what we are about to see. A minute and a half left to go. The only other change that we need to update you on is that there is no live race control tonight. That will take the form of post-race protests and penalties, which in other words means that one of our poor, or quite a few of our poor admin staff are going to be up till about 12 o'clock tonight going through all of the numerous incidents that will not be happening tonight in a 90-minute race. Listen, it's kind of guaranteed when you get 4 or 5 of those names together, then yeah, something's going to happen. But when you get like 15, 20, 30 cars of this nature, yeah, it's a bit spicy. What I will say though is, strangely, you know, you see big name affairs like the SRO event where a lot of these drivers get together, Dylan, and they drive very differently, a lot more aggressively than they do on races like this.
I mean, I don't know what sort of SROs they're doing in them with the aggression, because especially last week with Baikov, it was very aggressive. There's still prizes on the line, there's still glory to be won, so I'd expect the same level wherever they go. Maybe they have a bit more respect for us here to produce more clean racing. Who knows, but whatever it is, they still drive to their very best, and it's still good racing no matter what, whether it be clean or not. We hope it's clean, we want it to be clean and fair. You're not always going to get that. We saw Dara McCormack getting a bit hot-headed. Last week we didn't see too much of that. We saw the calm-headed nature of Robbie Stapleford, which we pointed out as the drivers are about to head on to their formation lap. Hopefully they're going to be nice, calm and collected and ready as there's a car or swim the pit lane there. But it's still... They're still a human, they're still going to have these emotions, and sometimes when things don't go their way, the aggression and anger will come out, and these mistakes and sort of dangerous moves will be shown.
Yeah, that's certainly going to be the case here. Do you know what I think it is, Dylan? They've heard that you're going to be on the commentary tonight, and they thought, right, well, we better be on our best behaviour. That's That's what I'm thinking is happening here. Because to be honest, I mean, it was immaculate last week. I think we had issues and we had contact, but there was none of the. I have to try and think of a way to put this, but there was none of the intentional aggression that we see in some of the other championships. It was that for the most part there was a line, so we'll see if that holds up tonight. But Luke Whitehead then going to be taking the cars round the field here. Got to say a big shout out to Tom Wenham as well in that number 3 Porsche, doing very, very well. And yet again, just like last week where we saw the BMWs doing so well at Bathurst, now we're seeing the Porsches coming to the forefront here with a top 3 lockout. You've got 2 Bentleys in 4th and 5th position of Tinko van der Velde and Darren McCormack, the teammates for Williams Esports, and then George Boothby in the sole Ferrari in the top 25 there in that 6th position here. So just coming through the inner loop just now, and it's safe to say I'm very, very curious how this is all going to go.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. Like I said, there's the Porsches at the top this time instead of BMWs. There's a cluster of BMWs. Ironically, it's prize stable for them bike of the sort of group we saw last time down there, 9th, 10th and 11th. Ogonodikov down in 13th as well, not far behind them. We've got the BMWs, we've got McCormack, he was a podium sitter last time. So a thing to notice is what we saw last time, with especially with the qualifying results and the different types of cars. It's very different. We've got the Porsches now up top, like I said, and there's also different drivers, Luke Whitehead, Van Hum and Fiala. So it also shows the level of skill and drivers we have here, that it is very close, where one week you can have one person in, the next week you can have a different driver on top, and it is all very unpredictable as well, with how many drivers we've got as well. They're all going to prefer different circuits and stuff. They all have their benefits, and it's going to be different each round with the nature of how good these guys are. And I'm very looking forward to it, as there is Tinko van der Velde, and that is some cracking hair there. I mean, he's looking calm as ever in the Williams Esports Chill Blast car. He's in 4th. He's looking to get a good start. Was he in the top 10? Where was he last time? I don't think he retired. Yeah. So he's looking to have a much better race. He's got the chance here. He's the highest of the Bentleys. He's starting 4th. So down towards turn 1, maybe he can start thinking of a move and maybe try and claw some points back, because the position he's in, he can score and secure a good handful of points and still getting back in sort of the race. Even though he didn't score last time, anyone can still in it. They'll still be in with a chance of a top 10 in the season or something. As we come to the final turn, I will let you take this one away, Dave.
Thanks very much, Sentil. And as you said, the car's making their way round. Luke Whitehead charges the field round for round 2 of the Simsport Racing International Cammus Community Cup live here on YouTube. David Christie and Dylan Pike bringing you all of the action from tonight's 90-minute race. GTW Esports gets the pedal down to the floor, and it looks like Tom Wenham has already got a heck of a start there round the outside going into the 90, and that is a brilliant start on the outside there. Tom Wenham, what a move. It looks like already taking that job done there, and that's going to be contact for Tinko van der Velde from Wojtek Fiala. That gets knocked into almost into his teammate there, as Darren McCormack trying to force the issue. They're going to be 3 wide down this back straight here, and this is surely all going to end in tears. There's a bit of contact, and there goes that was going to be Darren McCormack into the back of one of the other cars there, and that is a huge accident already, and that is going to be Boothby in the only Ferrari. Surprised that I missed that, given that he's the only Ferrari in the top 20. But Luke Whitehead, as we said, absolutely caught napping there. Tom Wenham on it, takes the lead of the race. Luke Whitehead in 2nd position, Darren McCormack in 3rd. But wow, Wojtek Fiala coming into contact there with Tinko van der Velde. Tinko van der Velde then sending that Ferrari off into the barriers there.
Isn't it Trevor Wenham?
Trevor Wenham, that's right, sorry. Completely escaped my mind there.
Yeah, it was absolutely brilliant until you was getting the name for it. It's me, I'm the one here who's here to mess the names up, but there was more accidents further back as well. I think it was one of the BMWs that went flying off into the background in like a second group of cars that had a little accident, so not the cleanest of starts there. Vanilla went 4 wide down the back straight there towards the bus stop. Like I said, it was never going to work, but Stapleford's got himself up to 7th. Bykov's had a good start. Ognodikov's up 1 as well, and then be the only Ferrari in the top 20 down in towards...
Oh no, was that Boothby into the wall again at the exit of the final corner there? I just saw a purple car into the wall, and that is a big F. George Boothby back to the pits and quite possibly already out of this race. We'll wait and see how long that takes to get that car repaired, but that could be a very early rage quit, as we have got a 4-way scrap for lead going on. Trevor Wenham ahead, Luke Whitehead, Darren McCormack and Wojtek Fiala all just within touching distance of each other right now. And yeah, listen, I said it was going to be hot and spicy, but I didn't expect it to be, you know, this hot and spicy over the first couple of laps here.
Yeah, I mean, another thing, I said I thought I saw another accident. Looking at the mini-map, Giovanni Pippo, he's been caught in the Audi. He's now lacking down at the back, trailing. On the mini-map you can see on the right hand side of your screen as Wojtek Fiala a little bit twitchy there of the car, missing the apex. Gonna have to see the gap forming already as McCormack's right onto the back of Luke Whitehead, but Pippo had a brilliant race last time. He started down in the 30s, ended up getting himself into point scoring position. Doesn't look like he's going to do that now. There's number 7 going slow, Baz Konrad Wizowski. He's down the order now as well, so accidents happening all along the place here, and I think they're all happening down at the bus stop. So maybe they need to sort themselves out a bit and be a bit more careful going into the bus stop. It's risky going sort of too wide through because of how quick it is. It's a bit of a chicane, but it's not one of those overtaking chicanes that sort of force. It's very tricky. You really have to force your car through it, as well as Fiala grazing the barrier on the exit of the final turn there as well. As we come on to the 3rd lap, Dara McCormack setting the fastest lap now and getting past Fiala, I think, as well. So it's chaotic. Number 57 as well now falling off the back. So I think there's accidents happening everywhere along the track here, Dave.
Yeah, that's right. That's going to be the 7 and the 52 involved in an accident as well there. That's going to be Konrad Wysłowski and Matt Johnson. In fact, the 52 into to pit lane there. Just a word about Giovanni Pippo, actually. He missed the start of the race, and that's going to be wide from Darren McCormack there. Contact, rejoin into the path of Wojtek Fiala, and that is a poor rejoin on Darren McCormack. Frustration just getting the better of him there, tried to keep the foot in there, and there was nowhere for that Porsche to go. Wojtek Fiala possibly with a little bit of damage, and it is an absolute melee of cars right now trying to get their way round there. And well, what on earth just happened there? Because Tinko van der Velde has kind of gained massively and got himself now up into 3rd position. So Darren McCormack was running in 3rd, and it was a way to say that the Bentleys were looking massively fast here. This is the Boothby incident on lap 1 then, as we saw them going 3 wide. And again, he just moves it up the inside there, gets clipped by the Williams car on the inside. That sends him off into the Porsche on the right hand side there. And then of course he's got absolutely nowhere to go, and then rejoins, tries to get going, but then was caught up in a second incident at the exit of the final corner. Meanwhile, Trevor Wenham and Luke Whitehead, they have got a gap now, what looks to be about 2 seconds ahead of Tinko van der Velde here. Now the Porsches do tend to abuse their tyres and wear through their tyres a little bit faster than the Bentleys and the other cars around them here, Dylan, so I can see this getting very hot in the next sort of 5-10 minutes.
Strategy played a big part in the Bathurst race last week, and it's going to play a big part this race as well. Porsche's going to eat into their tyres into the... Well, how long did we really see into the stint the BMWs go last time? They practically went to most of the 6 minutes pitting about the 50-minute mark. We saw Igor Ogonodikov, if I can get my words out properly, going about 55 minutes. So the BMWs will definitely have a massive advantage when it comes to their tyres and fuel in this race. And you may not be moving up the order as of now, which Robbie Stapleford is. He's started down in 9th now up into 5th, and we know he's got incredible pace there, that man. Had a brilliant race last week, getting 2nd, going to be looking to try and go one better here and challenge these Porsches. As like I said, if they are going to eat into their tyres, it will open the doors for the cars further down the order to maybe gain a few here. If they're just a bit patient, make their way up the grid as make the way up the order as slow as possible, or as just be careful. You don't want any mistakes that we've seen into the bus stop, because we've seen about 5 of them already in this short space that we've been going for nearly 7 minutes. So it's going to be a race of patience here. The race will come to you. If it wants you to win, it will choose you. Just be patient and not take too many mistakes, and going wide like that will be giving track limits at some point, and then that's penalties which you don't want to be having.
So what you're saying is a nice, cool, calm and collected start to this race then. I have to agree. I think that's exactly what you need to do. You need to have a cool head on, just try and work your way as confidently but as, you know, calmly as you possibly can. What you don't want is to be running at the ragged edge and wearing out your tyres any quicker than you need to. But this is going to be the 2 leaders going side by side, going down into the loop then, as Luke Whitehead tries to make a move round the outside. It's never going to work. Into the contact. Saw that happening a mile off there. Luke Whitehead gets it recovered, and there goes Tinko van der Velde. Sees that, says second place. Thank you very much. I will absolutely take that there. And that looked like a little bit wide there for Trevor Wenham. So, I mean, patience really not, you know, working to anyone's benefit right now, because we saw Darren McCormack, and I wonder if we can get his webcam up again, because I just want to point something out here. Look at him. He is driving angry tonight. He is furious. He is absolutely determined, and yes, that will make you fast, but at what cost? It also makes you a little bit reckless, and you do find yourself getting into contact because you're just so angry and so annoyed. That's usually when you can end up finding penalties coming your way. But it's a decent recovery drive so far for Darren McCormack right now, just behind the G2 BMW eSports machine of Robbie Stapleford right now. He's got that position from Eric Delfante. He's got that position from Isaac Price here, and he is charging down to catch up with that leading group right now. Here is Luke Whitehead though, onto the back of the Bentley of Tinko van der Velde here. And yeah, this is simmering away very, very nicely indeed.
Yep, tensions on the edge here now for some of them, as that is Van der Velde going a bit wide, and it's going to give Luke Whitehead a run all the way up through the S's up towards the bus stop. And well, you'd like to say you wouldn't go for the move again. It's not worked out for anyone really in towards the bus stop, but I don't think these guys are really going to learn from what we've seen so far. As you can see, he's tucked in for slipstream, he's gaining. Is he going to have enough though before he gets to the braking zone? No, he's not. So, crisis averted there, I must say. But if whilst we're on about the this is Isaac Price, last week's pole sitter that didn't end up starting on pole, trying to have a good recovery to the season really. Started off not in the best way, with a little mistake. He's now running in 8th. He's on the back of Eric Delfante, who currently sits in, if I can look at the championship standings, I can find it for you. He sits in 6th in the championship standings so far, and Isaac Price, funnily enough, 7th behind him. So this is a good little battle for the championship right now. I know the championship is still quite young, but there are points to be earned here. Every point will probably help in your hunt for these prizes that Cammus have so kindly put on offer for these drivers to win, and it gives that incentive to push a little bit harder. Not as we've seen so far really, but another thing I wanted to point out with, as we were saying, you're going to want to be cool and calm to win this race, and as we saw last week, the epitome of not being bothered by reckless driving, Robbie Stapleford currently in 5th. I would say in the long run he's also got that BMW, which is known to be a lot better on his tyres than the Porsche, a lot more easier car to handle overall. Watch out for Robbie Stapleford come the end of this race. I think he's going to be a brilliant driver to watch out for come the end of this, and challenging for the win.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely spot on there. It's a little bit wide for Tinko van der Velde. That allows Luke Whitehead to get the overlap as they come up through the S's here. He's going to tuck in for another taste of that slipstream, and this could be it. This could be the move from Luke Whitehead. If he doesn't make this happen right now, then we know it's going to be about fuel saving, but we're not going to get to see that because Trevor Wenham is going to go side by side with Tinko van der Velde. Van der Velde has to let off the accelerator nice and early to allow that car through. Trying to hold on to that position, does so. Luke Whitehead thought about making a move up the inside there, but in all intents and purposes that now allows Trevor Wenham to eke out again about 2/3 of a second of a gap here, and those Porsches seem to be doing very well. And Fiala's gone. Wojtek Fiala has gone. He's crashed the car and he's into the pits. Well, that is a turn up for the books then. So that now promotes Robbie Stapleford, who was up into 4th position, because Darren McCormack now is up into 4th position as well now. So Darren McCormack takes that P4. So it's Williams in P2 and P4 now, leading that group of 5 cars round the last couple of corners here through the heel and the exit of the boot of the circuit here at Watkins Glen. 10 minutes into this race, and Dylan, I wasn't expecting any of the drama that we've had so far. This is crazy. So just watching, as I said, 10 minutes gone in the race, we cut to a replay then. This is what happened with Wojtek Fiala then, and it looks like it's into the loop. Oh, he gets a little bit wide, tries to keep the foot in there. And is this going to be contact up the inside? Yep, he's going to get spun a little bit there into the wall. Yeah, that's not the best there. I'm not really sure how that one's going to be decided, but well, there we go. So Tinko van der Velde then moves into the lead. We just missed that. We were watching the replay there, but Tinko van der Velde into the lead of the race. Trevor Wenham down into 2nd place there. That's going to leave him into the clutches of Luke Whitehead here. So we've got a Williams Esports Chill Blast into the lead of the race here, and an hour and 50 minutes left to go.
Right, hello, I'm back. Yeah, I've accidentally muted myself to let yourself get on with business, and you wouldn't pick up anything in the background, and I forgot to unmute myself, so sorry about that. But as I was trying to say, if I want to be following anyone right now, Darren McCormack, he's driving with some real aggression, and you said unexpecting this sort of aggression and tempers flaring and sort of stuff. Well, me either, but once one gets going, it's almost like a domino effect. Everyone now is going to be, if one person gets caught up in an incident, everyone's going to be having a bit of bad blood now. It's going to probably last for the entirety of the 90 minutes. But someone you would want to be stuck behind, Robbie Stapleford, following Darren McCormack, is probably going to be a bit of a blessing. In fact, he's driving with some pace right now. Tinko van der Velde with the fastest lap of the race. But this little squabble for first, if it keeps going on, which, as we've seen, not only are they going to be holding each other up, accidents are prone to happen, and Robbie Stapleford and Darren McCormack are probably in the best spot right now in 4th and 5th, just tucked behind a bit. And Robbie Stapleford, following what is probably one of the quickest guys on track right now, is driving with some real aggression and anger to get himself back up into this back fight for the lead, as there's yellow flags on track again. Who's going slow this time? It's gone back.
That's the number 7, I think that is, that's brought out the yellow flags there. That is going to be Konrad Wisłowski, who has who's gone off towards the end of the circuit there. He now goes down into 35th position, 3rd last here. So obviously some sort of an incident for that number 7 there, but he's got going again. Also the 43, Chris Pinchbeck, coming into issues on the final couple of corners there. So yeah, it's kind of all kicking off at every single part of the circuit here.
Yeah, it's really interesting, as that is Luke Whitehead trying to send a move down on his Porsche comrade Trevor Wenham as they go down the back straight of the boot up towards the heel. He peels out to the inside. Sorry, can he get the move done? Thinks better of it, tucks back in. They just allow Trevor Wenham to pull a bit of a gap further ahead. And whilst this is all going on, Tinko van der Velde is going to be loving life right now. Is going to be playing the Igor Ogonodikov role of last week when we saw Bykov and Stapleford going at it. Just going to allow that lead to sail ahead, stretch out a bit, and you're just going to be benefiting from the two behind you scrapping away. And furthermore, it's going to be helping Darren McCormack and Robbie Stapleford then get themselves back into this podium fight.
Certainly will. 50 minutes gone in our 90-minute race, and it's Tinko van der Velde ahead of Trevor Wenham and Luke Whitehead. Darren McCormack in 4th, Robbie Stapleford in 5th position, Eric Delfante in 6th, with Isaac Price in 7th. Mikhail Bykov making advantage of all of the chaos going on, along with Igor Ogorodikov there down in 8th and 9th position, and then you've got Walsingham down in 10th position as well. We have got, that looks like 11 BMWs in that top 23 just now, and make that 9 BMWs in the top 10. So again, while they might not be on top just now, still a very strong showing tonight here from the BMWs. As we go to another replay then, I wonder, is this going to be the number 7? Yep, so this is what happened then to Konrad Wisniewski. He tries to turn the corner and unfortunately finds himself in the middle of an apex with the car already there and the car sideways on. Not the best look, but again, from what it looked like there, Dylan, pretty much just a racing incident.
Yeah, it's not the first time either that number 7's been involved in an incident, so not the best of race luck for him, but yes, very much seemed like wrong place, wrong time racing incident, and the stewards aren't here live, so nonetheless we're still going to have to look at it and not waste their time, but lose sleep into the night, it seems, for the poor boy, so it's not really the best of races for them to be picking out. We'll do it after the race, because it's already been a chaotic opening 20 or so minutes from the boys here around Watkins Glen. Nonetheless exciting for us, but not fun for them.
Yeah, it's not going to be the best day at the races for them. Meanwhile, we can see Igor Ogorodnikov fighting it out here as Isaac Price and Mikhail Baikov duke it out as well. Baikov gets past Isaac Price then, but can Ogorodnikov do the same, going side by side? That's never going to work around the outside at the S's here, but he could get the run up to the back stretch here, and this could move Ogorodnikov up into 8th position. Now, with the pit stops coming up in about 45 minutes time here, this could be well, every move that Igor Ogorodnikov is able to make here is going to be absolutely crucial.
Right position is going to be key, and as well as that, BMW, we're going to be able to go a bit longer on the tyres. Fuel's probably going to be a bit better than the Porsche. There's someone off there behind Igor Ogorodnikov in the background. I'm sure I just saw someone in the barrier.
I will go and eagerly go and check that out for you, but you might very well be right on that. He's certainly still shown up as in that position anyway, so we'll keep our eye on that. But yeah, so Ogorodnikov is absolutely fine there.
No, I think it was someone behind him though. There was someone like
right.
parked on the. I don't know if I'm seeing things or not. I don't know, maybe I was playing tricks on me. But here's a question whilst we're on the topic of Ogorodnikov. Why do you call him Big Bag Igor Ogorodnikov?
So that's a brilliant question. So I've known about Igor Ogorodnikov for a couple of years now. When I started doing commentary on Assetto Corsa Competizione, it was with the sim grids and their competitions that they used to do. And back then, he was a very, very aggressive driver. He was like really, if you had him behind you, it was easier just to let him go because you were going to be either with severe damage or you were going to be in the wall. He would make his way past you, and it really frustrated me because he's an insanely talented driver. He is so fast, and just so gifted behind the wheel, and it felt like, you don't need to be doing that. You can get that on your own merit. And over the past couple of years, that sort of nickname has just stuck because he's got an fiercely loyal fan base that follows him on stream. And I remember again when the first races I commented on, he ended up getting a penalty, and his entire fan base spammed the YouTube chat about demanding that the penalty be removed. And just ever since then, the nickname Big Bad Igor has kind of stuck because he was such an intimidating driver, and then you see him in real life and he looks like such a pleasant and polite guy.
Oh, Igor Ogorodnikov has some stands, it seems, then. So whilst you're going off with your youthful words of F, we may as well get the one. He's now got a bit of a stand following, almost like Lando Norris fan sort of thing. So, popular driver, we've not really got anything bad to say about Igor Ogorodnikov, especially after last week. Dominant performance, well deserved that win, so he's not shown really anything we can upset his fans about so far, as we're currently with the second place man for number 3 Porsche of Trevor Wenham. That's the first time we've seen him all season, I believe. I don't think we got a face cam of him last time out, so it's good to see him in the action now. This is Isaac Price, very disappointing last round with his qualifying incident, but it's probably going to haunt him for the rest of the season as he goes down towards turn 1, tucked behind Eric Del Fante. It's also a fight for, in terms of the championship, he's got a different camera of last time. It's amazing seeing them with all 3 monitors. I could never manage to look at all 3 at the same time. I'll just get a bit lost and miss out. It's the lengths they go to here to find this extra bit of pace. It is amazing, isn't it, Dave?
It really is, and I wonder how much of a performance boost that fan in the background is going to be, because goodness me, it's cosy over here in the UK. But as you said, I mean, looking at Isaac Price, the way that he's driving compared to some other drivers as well, Dylan, it's fascinating watching the style of the inputs. It's almost micromanaging the car, these little minute corrections, and just aggressively driving the car there. Always fascinating to watch. Now, Dara McCormack behind Luke Whitehead. Remember, Dara was involved in that collision in the inner loop in about the first 2 laps and got sent back to 8th position, and already he's hunting down the top 3. This is insane pace from Dara in that Williams Esports Chill Blast machine. He's doing so well, and I wonder if Tinko's maybe just not pushing as hard as he can because he wants to be able to let his teammate catch up.
I'm not too sure. He's going to be angry, Dara McCormack. Saw last week he's definitely got some pace behind him. So I wouldn't say that Tinker is holding them up. He may be a bit, but let's also not forget Wenham and Whitehead have been going at it a bit, so that's going to be holding each other up as well. As he goes a bit wide, Dara McCormack is going to be driving with some aggression and anger. He's really believes he should be fighting for this win here, and that accident isn't going to be, it's going to hamper him quite massively. He's not going to want that, so he's going to be driving with this anger and belief that he can be in with a fight here, as he's going to send Whitehead defensive as we go up towards the bus stop. He's got the slipstream from Wenham up ahead as well, but you're going to have to, he thinks better of it from his prior accidents, backs out of it as he's boxed in. He's just going to have to wait, and people are starting to learn it's not really a good overtaking spot, as it's just causing accidents through no fault really the driver's own, of the nature of the corner. You can't really fit too wide there without the drivers being fully aware of it, and they are human, they're going to make these mistakes. So he's learning from it, and Dara McCormack just smartly backs out of it and will wait for a better move maybe up towards turn 8 at the heel.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're going to have to watch as it unfolds right now. But Dara McCormack driving, as you said, in fury. You can see that from the expression on his face in the bottom right there as they come down towards the right-hander, towards the heel of this book part of the circuit here at Watkins Glen. A little bit wide for Trevor Wenham, just up in front. So your top 10 is Van der Velde, Wenham. You've then got Luke Whitehead, Dara McCormack, Robbie Stapleford, Mikhail Bykov up into 6th position. So what's happened there? Because Bykov's got past Eric Delfante and Isaac Price, but Igor Ogorondikov down in 9th position still, with Walsingham down in P10. So Mikhail Bykov on a move right now, but not so lucky for Igor Ogorondikov right now. That's going to frustrate him a little bit. Now, what can McCormack do coming through the 90 and coming up through the S's for the next time of asking then? He's going to try and have a look and see possibly if he can get both Whitehead and Wenham here on this time by. But Dylan, he looks absolutely furious.
He's hunting there. He's going to send Whitehead defensive again. He's going to get the toe again. It didn't work last time. He's now got a bit more of an overlap. He's going to have to try and go around the outside, and Whitehead thinks better of it and lets Dara McCormack have that. Maybe he can see Dara's face expressions and know he's driving with some fury. He does not want a single part of that. But now McCormack is in with it here. Tinker van der Velde is pulling ahead, so maybe he was right. Maybe the Williams boys are having a bit of teamwork there, backing him up. And now Tinker van der Velde, now his teammates in with a chance here. He's flying up the road as we go up towards turn number 7 at the toe of the boot section. What a name of a corner that is. Very unique there. Absolutely love it. And up towards turn 8 at the hill, tucked into the slipstream of Wenham. I don't think it's going to be quite close enough for a move. There is actually Whitehead's more close enough. He peeks out for a move, thinks better of it, backs out of it. And they're going to have a bit more of a quiet. You need a good combination of turns through 9, 10, 11, this final section. As you say, that McCormack nearly into the back of Wenham there, and that's going to allow Whitehead to close up a bit here. And a good enough run. It's not going to really be close enough. You don't want to think for moving to turn 11. And this is a replay of...
So this is Mikhail Bykov, yeah. And the thing is that it just looks like a fairly straightforward overtake. But Bykov, the pace that he's got on that BMW compared to his brother car, Igor Ogorondikov, is absolutely insane. As we cut back to Darren McCormack now, right on the back end of Trevor Wenham, but also so is Luke Whitehead. The two of them are going to go up through almost side by side here. I get the most horrible feeling that this is going to end in tears here, Dylan.
I agree with you on that one, trying to go around the outside at the top of the S's there. Whitehead trying to find a gap, though it can't be done. The speed of the BMW is going to allow McCormack to get past Wenham. Is Wenham going to think better of it and back out of it? Oh, he does. I did not think that was going to happen. What a move there by McCormack. That is impressive. No one wants to mess with McCormack right now. He is absolutely flying around the track there. The Irishman, he's hungry for this win. He believes, he knows he should be fighting for the win here, and all he has to do now is chase down his teammate Tinker van der Velde. And as I was saying, it was the Porsches dominating quali, and watch out for them. Well, now it's two Bentleys leading, and they're both Williams esports drivers. And Bobby Stapleford has caught himself onto the back as well. With all of this scrapping going on, Stapleford's now got himself onto the back of this group here. And as it stands, if the race finished this way, would Stapleford take the lead of the championship, or would it be McCormack? It's going to be close, but we've still got a yellow on track there at the bottom, at the top of the S's. That's the number 99 or number 92, I can't.
Yeah, that's Sam Walker in the 99 McLaren that's coming bother at the top of the S's there. You're seeing Robbie Stapleford in the inside of the picture again. Yet another of these drivers who are just insanely young and incredibly fast and talented as well. You can see he's obviously a little bit warm, I think, there, it's safe to say, because a lot of the drivers sweating. We actually saw Chris Pinchbeck from SSRI Racing wearing a Rift or a VR headset. That's definitely not what we want to do in this weather, as we've got another yellow flag out very, very briefly there, and that looked like it's going to be side by side between Wenham and Whitehead. Then coming into the loop, who's going to give up here? It's going to have to be Luke Whitehead, who succumbs to the pressure right there. He thought he could maybe make it, but as you were saying, Robbie Stapleford now, he is really fancying a bit of this fight. And yeah, I mean, it's for the final podium position, but we were talking about Tinko van der Velde as well. I wonder if he's a little bit afraid, because he can see Darren McCormack, and oh, that is not what you want coming up through the S's. A little bit of contact on the rear, and that car in front there, an innocent bystander and all that.
Yeah, more crashes that don't need to be happening, so maybe all the drivers need to be starting to sort themselves out there. But going into the bus stop there, I really thought the biggest winner coming out of that would be Stapleford. I did not see the Porsches backing out of that, and I could see them. They've already gone off once together. I almost saw it happening again. I don't want to bring any of these drivers, their driving standards down, and it's not really up to how them. The nature of this race so far has been these sort of things will happen. They are hungry to climb up the order and get these vital points for the prizes that are offered that Cammus have so ever so kindly provided for this championship. The Stapleford falling off the back here, and Whitehead very close to the back of Wenham here. Is he going to be able to go for a move up towards turn number 1 in towards the 90? I don't think he is. Just focusing on your exit, get a good run up towards the S's. And if you can get side by side in towards the bus stop, the driver ahead really just seems to back out of it and be a little smarter. You don't want to. There's still an hour left. You race to finish first you need to finish the race. It's wise words to live by, and if you're always just going to be sending it, especially in towards the bus stop here, which it looks like Whitehead's going to, you can see he's very focused, very stern in on the camera there, as also Stapleford trying to find a very late move in towards the entry to the bus stop, thinks better of it, and again he's costing himself a bit of time there, and the biggest loser was Robbie Stapleford going for a bit of a late move, and Luke Whitehead is focusing ever, just he's dialed in, trying to get past Trevor Wenham and get that third place spot.
Oh, this is starting to get very, very spicy, and you can just see coming through the picture at the bottom was Darren McCormack, who's now 0.8 of a second just behind your race leader Tinko van der Velde. He is hungry indeed to get that race win, and I wonder how that one is going to pan out. And again, with van der Velde, you just thought that the pace that he had was enough to pull away from the likes of Wenham and Whitehead, but he wasn't able to. He ended up getting caught, and now suddenly he's got got all this pace as well. But again, when I'm under huge pressure from Luke Whitehead, I think this is going to go all the way down to the wire. But we've got less than an hour to go here in round 2 of the Simsport Racing International Cammus Community Cup here, and it's still Tinko van der Velde up in front of a Williams Esports 1-2. Darren McCormack in second place there, and you can just see in the background you've got that incredible fight. Trevor Wenham trying to fight off Luke Whitehead, who's going to send it up the inside of turn 1 into the 90, and that is going to be a beautiful, beautiful overtaking manoeuvre every single day of the week, and that also sends Trevor Wenham wide, but Trevor's kept the foot in, and they're still going to be side by side coming up through the S's, and here comes Robbie Stapleford as well, and unbelievably I think Trevor Wenham still has that third position.
Surely Wenham's got to give up, or surely he gained an advantage by running
3 wide!
He's oh wow, that's gone for the grab!
Oh, that was so close!
And they're all staying together on track. Wow, that is brilliant racing there. As I was saying, surely Wenham's got to give the place up. Surely he gained the lasting advantage to be able to keep his foot on, and Whitehead's thinking of sending it in, and Wenham shuts the door. I'm lost for words there. We were both stumbling over each other. Brains have just gone there.
Oh man, that was amazing. Honestly, I think that's easily the sort of overtake, I think, or potential move of the race that we'd seen so far. Race 1 had nothing on that.
We're only 30 minutes in. Let's not get too hasty. I remember pointing out that there's every minute of this championship, of every race, will just get better and better. As the race in Bathurst didn't start off too exciting and just worked its way up to the end, and I said that momentum would continue, and I was absolutely right here. It's continuing, and the way Whitehead is just positioning his car into every corner, you can see he's just thinking of a move, trying to make Wenham go offline, go a bit defensive. He's really thinking of just trying to get in Wenham's head here.
Is it going to be
again? Or what will be the 20th time? Is he going to think for a move? He's very close. He's going to go for it again. He peers out. Oh, thinks better of it. Backs out of it. Doesn't want any sort of mistake. And rightly so. He's got a very good exit though out of turn 1. He's going to be tucked right into the back up towards this. This is a place where you don't want to gain right onto the back. But he's going to try and find the gap through 2. It's not going to done. He's going to sit into the back. Going to the inside of 4 at the top of the S's. Wenham trying to place his car where Whitehead won't get his way through. Whitehead, you see in the bottom right corner, drilled in, trying to focus it. Wenham squeezes in round the outside. He's going to be able to go. There's Robbie Stapleford trying to find a gap down the inside a bit wide. There goes Luke Whitehead, and Robbie Stapleford trying to find his way through as we go in towards turn 5 at the outer loop. Stapleford couldn't find the door there, and Whitehead looks absolutely unbothered by Stapleford trying to prod at him from behind.
I was just the way to say that. Not even a blink of the eyes. That was incredible calmness from Luke Whitehead. This is further down the order though. This is the battle for 8th position then. You can see Igor Ogorodnikov ahead of Eric Delfante, and then ahead of Walsingham in that 188 McLaren as well. It looks like Ogorodnikov starting to make a little bit of a break for it just now, and leaving Delfante into the clutches of Walsingham right now. But my goodness me, I mean, again, it just shows you wherever you go through the order here, you've got these tiny little battles that are going on, but fascinating little fight. Here's Romain Jacquard onto the back of Regan Mitchell in that number 22 Rocket Simsport Honda that's just up in front in 19th position. Regan really, you know, those Hondas just don't seem to have the grunt right now, holding on to 19th position, but Jacquard wants to take that for Sanlo Racing in the number 18 Audi. Just behind him as well, you can see Simonietta in that 858 BMW. So 54 minutes left to go in the race then, and the question is that you were asking earlier, Dylan, about pit stops. How long can they go? I think they're going to make it until about the hour mark, as we see again side by side. Luke Whitehead has just been absolutely done by Robbie Stapleford. Stapleford up into P4, and he is not going to be finished yet. He wants to take that P3 right now, but Luke Whitehead wants to kind of beat him to it here, Dylan. And you've got to say, from the way that Stapleford was looking with that BMW, it was only a matter of time.
They just sent him absolutely packing to the shops there, did Stapleford, and now going to be hunting down Trevor Wenham, who's shown to be a bit more difficult to pass, let's say, than Luke Whitehead, as Wenham has he's fought every step of the way. Not saying Whitehead hasn't, but Wenham's just been a brick wall. He's been a thorn in the heel for all of these drivers so far. As we do go up towards the heel, ironically here, as Whitehead gaining a bit in towards the braking zone. Can he get a good exit just now? This is the bit we need to just follow the driver as close as possible, try and make these gains as he goes. Very wide there, swinging in for a late apex. Bit of a mistake there for Luke Whitehead. As we were saying, you need to stick to as close as they can before you get to the main straight and maybe think of a move. And then he absolutely goes and does that, and now he's on board with Aidan Walsingham, trying to get past Eric Delfante, who's slowly falling down the order here, falling into the clutches. Oh, a bit wide for Walsingham as we go through the final turn. Very cautious on the throttle pedal, feathering it a bit as we go on towards the main straight, up towards turn number 1 at the 90. As Eric Delfante, you can see just pulling ahead slightly with that better exit as we go up towards turn number 1. A bit wide for both drivers. Oh, and Eric Delfante, big mistake there as both missed the apex and then run wide on the exit of turn 1.
Yeah, fantastic action, and as we said, Robbie Stapleford already onto the back of that Porsche. James one way, then the other into the loop, then has to put on the brakes a little bit earlier than that Porsche in front, but Trevor Wenham is in big trouble now because Robbie Stapleford for BMW GT2 Esports all over the back of that Porsche right now. We've got under an hour left to go in this race, being led by Tinko van der Velde and Dara McCormack, but as we're watching here, Robbie Stapleford still desperately trying to get that final place on the podium. Now here's another thing that I'm going to point out. Mikhail Baikov and Igor Gorodnikov, those BMWs seem to be making a huge set of inroads into this race here, because it was a Porsche 123 if you'll remember, but now we've got BMW starting to make up a good chunk of that top 10 here. So are we going to see the Bentleys being replaced by BMWs, do you think, Dylan?
Don't know. Tinker van der Velde and McCormack, the Williams boys, have shown to have this speed, and also what's going to be helpful is their teammates. So you have that team aspect which we didn't have in the battle last week, which we pointed out. Would it have gone any different if you had your teammate there? And that question might be answered today. Isaac Price is down in 7th and gaining as well with Baikov and Organodikov, which can help Stapleford in his G2 teammate. But the BMWs really are making inroads right now on these Porsche. We're just falling down the order. It may not also be helpful. They could have damage from their, lap 2, lap 3 crash that they had at the exit of the bus stop. So maybe they are dealing with a bit of damage as well, as Robbie Stapleford going up the S is tucked in behind Trevor Wenham for the second time of asking up towards the section. Can he get past him? The BMW seeming to have a bit more straight line speed than the Porsche around the outside. He's really trying to stick it as he's going to get past him before the braking zone, and Wenham's going to have absolutely no answer to it. And as cool as you like there, Robbie Stapleford, he's almost smiling as he goes through the bus stop. Not bothered one bit, and now he's going to look to hunt down the Williams boys in front. Another VR boy. This is Clyde Barney in the Simsport Racing BMW down in 13th. He's chasing Petrocini, and that is in one of the Audis there. So can he get it done? I think he's probably the highest VR runner as well, which is... It's just an interesting thing how the difference between using a normal monitor and VR, how do you think that would impact the drivers?
I can give you first-hand knowledge because I'm a VR boy myself. So I made the switch about 3 years ago with the old Oculus Rift DK2, and the problem is that it ruins it for you because you can never go back to using monitors, or it's very difficult to go back to using monitors. The sense of immersion is just absolutely incredible. It's way more tiring though, because obviously you've got a lump of plastic on your head that's got these two bright LEDs that are putting out a little bit of heat right next to your face, so it is exhausting. It's very tiring, but my goodness me, is it fun. It really adds to the enjoyment factor of taking part in these races. And of course the entry level for VR now is so low, given that you can just go and pick up the likes of a Quest 2 and just go and hook that up on one of the old Drift S's, which I've got. And yeah, I absolutely love it. It is the most enjoyable experience, and I would say for me it was one of the biggest things that led to me going real life racing in terms of developing me as a driver, is Darren McCormack there getting it all wrong coming out the inner loop there. So yeah, I think the VR boys are going to be a little bit more sweaty by the end of tonight.
they've also got to have some weight to them as well. Surely at a certain point it's going to cause a bit of strain on your neck. So maybe that also adds to the immersion variance. To get a nice pedal cam of McCormack. That's so we get to see his throttle inputs as he goes through turn 7 at the toe. Just not fully going on the throttle until midway through the corner. So very steady, very cautious as he's tucked behind his team and doesn't want a repeat of what happened at the Alps Loop not so long ago. But that is really interesting. I know it's only a sim, but seeing the throttle inputs as well, it's quite a cool shot. So thank you to our TV director Steve, doing us wonderful jobs as always.
I've got to be honest, that's a first for me. I've never seen that cam before, so I know Steve and Mike are constantly trying to outdo themselves on the rather cool arty camera shots, and I've got to be honest, that was mint. I absolutely love that, and as you say, it's fascinating because it gives you an insight into how these top tier level drivers actually take the corner and give you actually a little bit more understanding of how they battle. But Luke Whitehead back to that battle with Trevor Wenham now that Robbie Stapleford has kind of unleashed himself for that, and you've got to feel that little bobble from Trevor Wenham has now given Luke Whitehead an opportunity. Side by side coming up through the S's again, it's going to be Trevor Wenham to the left hand side and Luke Whitehead to the right. Luke has the inside line coming for the loop here, but can Trevor keep his foot in there? Still side by side, and Trevor's going to have a little bit of a run, but there we go, job done for Luke Whitehead. He takes 4th position from Trevor Wenham, and in the end it now just means that Mikhail Bykov is looming dangerously large in the background.
Another thing to point out as well, Igor Orgonodikov has made his first pit stop, so if you see him not in the tower, that is because he has gone and taken his pit stop. He's now down in 25th. He's come out in fairly clean air. There's a lot of drivers actually down there. No one really that's been troubling any of the top 10 or so, but the highest of the first pitters, Igor Orgonodikov then, down in 24th now, going to be making his way up the order, and he's going to probably be the benchmark of where everyone is, trying to get that undercut. As you said, they're going to be about the hour mark, so he's pitted about 15 minutes before then, but surely some of these drivers in some more clean air, like the two women's balls we're seeing, can probably extend a bit more so they don't have to think about this strategy going for the undercut, which is another thing that we didn't really have to think about last time because tyre wear wasn't really a factor at Bathurst. They didn't have to worry about definitely changing tyres. It was more just a fuel race, so the undercut is going to be more of a into the strategy. So let's see how that plays out with Orgonodikov down in 24th, and we'll see how with Bykov and Price making their way up the order, how that will play out. But this is Mark Brophy down in 29th, trying to get past, I believe that is Alan Drake Cruz, the number 23, if I can, yes, Alan Drake Cruz, what a name that is, currently down in 28th. So even though you're not fighting for points, it's still a good battle as he nearly tries to find his way around the outside at the final turn. That would have been quite some move there, Dave.
Yeah, it certainly would. Hayden Walsingham into the pits as well as Neil Rolla, as that's going to be a dive up the inside from last week, but gets it stopped, gets it done, and Redline Sachs Racing's Mark Brophy gets that 28th position from Drake Cruz, and they're going to have to watch out because Gerard Pipo in that number 33 Audi, remember, starting in pit lane after missing the start of the race, is possibly going to be trying to make his way into the top 30 as well. Matteo Petricini though for eSports Sim Racing team onto the back of Banny right now. Banny's got quite a lot of support in YouTube chat, so it's always great to see that, isn't it, Dylan, when you've got these drivers doing a race on like any given night of a week, and they have their little fans that come in and just cheer them on. I've not had it myself, but I can imagine it's a hell of a boost. It must just lift your confidence so much.
I thought they were all here for us personally. I thought we were a cracking duo.
Mate, come on. I've been on the game long enough to know that's not the case. I kid myself, but yeah, no, it's not going to happen, mate. Oh, Darren McCormack into the pits, just pointed out, and Robbie Stapleford as well.
Bykov and Wenham have also pitted as well, as McCormack and Stapleford and Whitehead are also in the pit lane, so McCormack trying to get the undercut on his teammate Tinker van der Velde, but quickly going back to, yeah, that support that you must get. I mean, it's not like what we saw in the Austrian Grand Prix where there's a whole grandstand dedicated to Max Verstappen, but even a handful of people cheering your name in the chat still must give you that little bit of little bit of boost to go on and push on a bit. It really must give you that extra sort of downforce or mile per hour in the straight or something. It always will help to give you that confidence knowing that people have your back, as now we are sort of seeing everyone piling into the pit there. There's Tarasov, there's Jacquard, Stapleford, Delfante, everyone piling into the pits, and Price and Co. moving up then in towards the top three. McCormack out of the pits now. He will come out behind Barney and Mullard. So, bit of traffic maybe for the net race second placement, as we are on board with Tinker van der Velde, as he now has no pressure behind him, just looks cool as a cucumber. Looks like he's driving on the M1 on a Sunday, but maybe with a bit more movement.
Well, yeah, I'm glad you said that. I probably wouldn't have thought to say that, but hey ho. So Tinker van der Velde in the lead, provisional lead of the race, as our well, he is actually in the lead of the race. I forgot because Darren McCormack actually pitted from second place there. So forgive my senior moment there. It's Darren McCormack actually who will be slightly out of position as into the pits end. Tinker van der Velde almost exactly halfway. Would have been for Dara anyway, but there we go. I think Dara's going to come out potentially in front here. That is my gut feeling on this, but it gets the pit stops out of the way, and now it's just going to be a straight race for the next 42 minutes.
Yeah, I'm going to really look forward to it. It's going to be absolutely hammer and nail as we've seen all of the race so far. Maybe not so much as our teammates. One thing you really don't want, first rule of motorsport and sim racing, don't take out your teammate. Hopefully we don't get to see that as the rest of the top four make their way into the pit lane, and we'll see how the undercut really will play out. Ogonodikov has actually got past Delfante. That was something we said that we need to look out for. Bykov is very close to the back of Whitehead as well, I'm seeing. So how will McCormack, where will he come out compared to his teammate Tinker van der Velde, as he's coming through the final turn now, and Tinker is leaving the pit lane, so maybe it's not been the cleanest of outlaps there, or maybe a bit of a slower stop, maybe taking a bit more fuel has McCormack, but coming up towards the first turn it's going to be close. But Tinker van der Velde, I think, has been a bit of a gainer there actually throughout that sequence of the pit stop, and he's smiling about it. You can see he knows he's got one up on his teammate there. He is smiling, and is Isaac Price actually, is he in front of McCormack? I think McCormack's actually been jumped by quite a lot of people here. Isaac Price, Cohen, Barney, Mullard, they've... actually, no, there we go. It's the tower final. As I thought everyone had just done a worldie on McCormack there, but alas, the tower falls back into picture. So the rest of the people to stop is Shoops, Mitchell, Ietzi, there's Mead and Pinchbeck. I'm quite surprised. Simone Ietza, very good racer, very quick, currently 9th in the championship, has just fallen down the order. He started high teens, has fallen into the 20th of some point, and that is Bykov getting past Price as well now. He's moved up into 9th, so Bykov, we know, has got some serious pace on him. He will now look to catch the Porsches, as you said earlier, Dave.
Yes, certainly will, and again, it doesn't look like there's been any massive gains throughout the pit stop, as our last takers of Dennis Shoops, Regan Mitchell and Simone Ietza making their way in just now. But look at this, Luke Whitehead actually losing massively out of that pit stop, going down to what will effectively be 5th position. But Bykov, I mean, that is a ridiculously fast pit stop for Bykov, and in fact that pace that Bykov has been able to do, that is going to put them in provisional 5th position right now. So fantastic to see that from the Somewhere Pro by VDES driver there. But Luke Whitehead, you get the impression Luke is rather eager, shall we say, to get that position back here.
Yeah, well, we saw Whitehead, both Porsche drivers of Whitehead and Wenham have been very aggressive, let's say. Not too aggressive. They've been fairly clean for the most part, but they are hungry. They are wanting to race, and this is Regan Mitchell, the current race leader. So that's a nice shot of the Rocket Simsport driver. He's not made his pit stop yet, so he's not going to be in the race lead for long, but it's nonetheless a chance to get some laps on the board. And are there points on offer for every lap led, or am I thinking of a different championship there?
I believe you are. I don't think they get points for every single or for the amount of laps led. But the other thing I was about to say as well is if you think Tinko van der Velde has got a head of hair on his webcam, then I can assure you Regan Mitchell can absolutely outdo that. Met Regan in person a couple of months ago when we went to Oulton Park to watch the British GT, and yeah, it's almost down to the middle of his back. So obviously long hair coming back in fashion here, Dylan.
Oh, I would still take Tinker's. It's a lot more full, a lot more stylish, and seems a lot more tidied up. No disrespect at all to Regan Mitchell, but Tinker van der Velde, his hair is almost like his performance right now. Both remarkable. But he's been hunted down by McCormack, who has just gone and taken fastest lap of the race as well. He's within a second again. He's hunting himself down, but this is Luke Whitehead, looking as calm and as hungry as ever, trying to get onto the back of Bykov. These face cam shots gaining massively, having slammed on the brakes a bit more than he would have thought of. It's going to lose him a bit of time and towards turn one. Maybe Bykov catching him off guard again. Maybe Bykov taking another hit of a vape, which we saw him do last week, which we found quite impressive. Maybe that's where some of his speed has come from. He's brought the vape back out and it's given him that extra few miles an hour down the straight. But up towards the bus stop then, Luke Whitehead tucked into the back of Bykov. He's not going to be able to gain enough on him to maybe think of any chance of a move in towards the bus stop. So just going to have to sit back and wait and have a good middle section, maybe come the end of the lap. Maybe look for a move in towards turn one. As he just starts to drift a bit wide there through the outer loop. But a bit wide there for Bykov's Whitehead. Both these drivers dialed in, very focused, very little mistakes coming out. They are creeping in as again. Bykov missing the apex, swinging a bit wide, and there's one of the someone is wide on the exit of turn number 7.
Yeah, just getting an idea on that car. That was the 191 of Sean Drysdale, the Honda, that was wide at the exit of the toe of the boot here. So you can see that car just making its way round just now, and yeah, that's unfortunate to see. And again, just regarding some of the comments about the stewarding tonight, of course, it's going to be a post-race stewarding situation. That was because of a technical failure with the stewarding software that they used to review all of the incidents, so they had to go back to their fallback of just taking protests after the race. And you know, it's not their ideal situation, but it's still miles better than just kind of letting these sim racers have free rein. Talking of free rein, I wonder if there's going to be any team orders right now, because here comes Darren McCormack onto the back of his teammate Tinko van der Velde. That's a big fat no there, because that was a look to the inside from Darren McCormack. Game on, son, let's get going. 36 minutes left to go here, and well, you know how normally you feel comfortable. I do, for example, another sim race, GT3 sim race during the week on iRacing, and there's teammates that are usually very fast and usually out in front, and what they'll actually do, funnily enough, it was Watkins Glen where they were last this week, and the two teammates were actually bump drafting each other along that back stretch there. But I don't think you're going to get that kind of teamwork tonight here from Tinko van der Velde and Darren McCormack. I think things might be, they'll all be fun, but I think they might be a little bit more fighty tonight.
Yeah, if I'm Tinko, I'm letting Dara through. Dara seems to be the quicker driver, and also a thing to point out, Robbie Stableford is flying behind them as well. And if these two start squabbling, it's then going to allow Robbie Stableford to come into it, and I would not want him in that battle either. He's a very, very good driver, and someone I would not want to be in a bit of a scrap with, because he's also very patient as well. No matter how reckless you are, he will find a way to get past you. So I would probably let Dara through. It saves the hassle of you two holding each other up, and also in terms of the standings, Dara McCormack is really, he's probably going to be in it for the title. He's currently sitting in third, and Tinko van der Velde, I'm looking down the order, doesn't have any points at all. So it's early in the season, but there's only 5 races in total. So in terms of points, I am letting Dara through. He's seemingly the quicker driver, with Robbie Stableford hunting behind, as we do see him getting past briefly inside, cutting the corner. He's going to have to give that one back. But this battle is not going to do anything, and if at the end of the 34 minutes we have left, if Robbie Stapleton comes out on top because these two have been squabbling too much and it has allowed him to get to the back of this and get past them, they're probably going to look back at it and gone, well, that's 30 points for Dara in the championship gone and turned into 20, all because, well, I got held up behind my teammate even though I was a quicker driver. So have every right to be racing, as you can see from the mics, they are talking to each other, they do have every right to be racing as well, despite being teammates, that there are no team orders, you can still scrap it, but then you sometimes have to think, is it really worth it to be stuck behind your teammate racing when realistically you could send a quicker driver ahead and fly off into the distance and get the race win?
Yeah, I love the thought of them actually listening to us commentating, and just between them they're talking crap about us again. that's the reason for the laugh in there. I think at the end of the day, yeah, they're going to push each other, and also the thing to remember is that it's an individual prize that they're going to be fighting for. It's an individual race. So while they're both here representing Williams Esports Chill Blast, as long as they don't take each other out, I can't see any reason for them not to be fighting each other. Especially, if Tinko was to let Dara through, it's only going to impact Tinko's championship. It's not going to impact Dara's in terms of him helping him. So a little bit of nudge there into the loop there. This is starting to get a little bit fraught, I think, here, Dylan.
I said it was going to happen. First rule of any sort of racing: do not take your teammate out. There's a bit of a love tap there from Darren McCormack, just letting Tinko know he's there, but I'm sure Tinko's already aware of it. But that gap to watch out for, 4.2 seconds, or around about 4.2, 4.3 seconds behind, is Robbie Stapleton in clean air as well. So the more these two scrap, the more Robbie's going to be loving it. But you can almost tell that it's teammates together, because they do not look phased one bit. I can almost guarantee if instead of Dara it was Robbie behind Tinko, he would not look this calm and collected like he's just having a chill Sunday drive to the shops. In the morning he's looking very calm right now, so I think if Robbie or Trevor Wenham gets behind these two, it's going to look a bit more dire. Is it Tinko busting out a smile there, something that we've not really seen. They've all been very still in their faces with the emotion, just being very focused. But right now, teammates, you're just having a bit of a casual scrap right now, nothing too dire really. So yeah, you can just go out and enjoy it for a bit. And right now, with 30 minutes left, not really trying anything too drastic. We saw a little kiss in the back there, but Robbie Stapleton takes nearly a second out of him just in one lap there. So maybe it is time to start working together and not really go for these sort of scraps. And then maybe in the last 10 minutes you can start going at it. But right now, focus a bit more on not losing out to Robbie Stapleton in your own little scraps.
Yeah, that's a brilliant point actually. Also noticing that Bykov and Ogorondikov have been overtaken by Luke Whitehead. Whitehead making his way back up. As you can see, this fantastic shot from underneath the rear spoiler of Tinko van der Velde. They're looking onto the back of, or onto the bonnet, excuse me, of Darren McCormack here. But again, while these two are fighting, they're still able to open up a tiny bit of a gap over Robbie Stapleford. Gap's gone up by 0.2 of a second here, but, and it's a big but, we've now got back markers as Clyde Banney wants to try and make a move on One Co. They're going to be side by side, and onto the brakes nice and early goes Clyde Banney for Simsport Racing International down there in 12th place. And again, putting paid to the fact that what we were saying there, it doesn't matter where the drivers are; they're always going to be involved in a battle. As you can see, Clyde in the VR headset there, I believe that looks like an HP reverb that he's using on that one. So, tons of different headsets that are on offer. But again, you can see just how focused that he is, and not turning his head as much as some of the other drivers.
I mean, I'm more impressed that you could tell what model of VR headset it was. But yeah, it's something to point out though that he isn't moving as much, moving towards the apex. So maybe we can't see what he's seeing with the VR. So maybe he just has enough where he just needs to move his eyes and spot the apex, but especially some of the guys with just standard monitors moving the heads. I think it was Orgonotikov that we saw moving with the car, following it in a more realistic manner. So it is maybe something to point out, but we don't quite know, as this is Tinker van der Velde going very defensive as he's coming up towards the bus stop as his teammate. Darren McCormack, if I can get my words out, struggling. And have they just got past Eric Del Fante have they just gone on lap 9th? I'm sure. Is that Del Fante behind? That looks like Del Fante's Audi behind. So
I will just let you know right now, because Del Fante is currently going through the S's, so no, it's not. That looks like it could be the 21, so it's possibly let's have a look here. I think they're up to about maybe 24th or 25th right now.
It's not 21, that's Porsche.
And just have a look. Yeah, so here we go, Team Abbey Racing. Hopefully that keeps you happy. Chris Vickers down there in P24. So we know it's not P24 then that has got the leaders on their tail right now for Simsport Racing International in the 147. A little bit ahead of Brophy, and a little bit further behind the 23 of Richardson as well. There you can see on the right hand side though that your two race leaders were under half an hour to go here, just making their way down into the 90. And as fast as Darren McCormack is, he's not really pushing the situation.
No, I mean the gap's now gone back up to 4.2 seconds, so maybe maybe they are actually listening to us and maybe having a few words about us. So maybe you was right about that one, but maybe they was listening and heard that this a little double split screen there. Whitehead on Price trying to get through at the top of the S's as they come over through turn 4 up towards the bus stop. Whitehead, can he get the move done? The BMW seemingly got a bit more straight line speed, even with the slipstream though. Whitehead not gaining enough as I would like to in towards the bus stop. As we were saying, maybe McCormack and Tinko in the Williams cars have realised and listened to us. Well, Robbie Stapleford's gaining behind us and has extended that gap out a bit more. As Tinko van der Velde goes and hits a polystyrene board. We saw someone knock one over in the pit lane last week. Now they've knocked them onto the track, causing problems down at turn number 7 there. And now weaving across, so maybe it's time to get into a bit more serious. We think about going down the inside and switching across the road, but nearly spins his teammate out there. As I was saying, they've probably realised that Robbie Stapleford's now slowly gaining, so we need to lay off it a bit and start having a bit more teamwork. And as soon as we say that, we're back into scraps in not necessarily the best overtaking spots as he thinks of a move in towards turn number 10, thinks better of it, does Dara McCormack. And you're getting a good laugh out of this, aren't you, Dave?
I'm watching this because that's the second time I've seen Dara weaving all over the place. He's 100% baiting Tinko van der Velde at this point. The two of them just having a laugh as they're almost side by side coming into the 90 then for the 36th time of asking. And again, it's going to be up the hill, but again 3.6 seconds is the gap here. You can see Luke Whitehead here onto the back of the BMW just in front of him, and they're almost bump drafting each other up the hill here, as we see on the right hand side your race leaders. Now this could be it. This is the closest that Dara McCormack has been to your two Williams cars side by side then, and Dara has to jump onto the brakes here as Tinko van der Velde going very, very, very defensive indeed, as Isaac Price doing a grand job of holding on to that BMW and keeping that car just behind him as well. And that also means that Mikhail Baikov getting sent down to 7th position, as well as van der Velde goes wide, and there goes Darren McCormack to the outside. It's going to be down into the toe then. Does he get the position? Yes, he does. And finally, you've got to say, Darren McCormack takes the lead of this race, and I don't think you'll find any driver who's fought harder to get that.
No, it looks like Tinko van der Velde as well muttered some words, maybe saying, give me my position back. But Darren McCormack, even though his teammate's not going to be that kind, it's not Christmas come early for Tinko van der Velde, as Darren McCormack is now saying, nah mate, you want to come get this position, you've got to come and take it off me, I'm not going to, this isn't no Christmas present for you, sorry. And now we're going to have 25 minutes of those two going absolutely at it. And speaking of going absolutely at it, this is Luke Whitehead still trying to get past Isaac Price. And that stern face, wow, it's been a It's been a feature all race really of Luke Whitehead looking sterner and sterner, more hungry every time we pan to him. There's a bit of traffic they're approaching now as well, so maybe that might play into Luke Whitehead's hands as it goes down to the main straight for what will be the 38th time this race. You can see back markers up ahead. It's going to help Isaac Price but get a bit of a tow, but Luke Whitehead peers to the right hand side, down towards the 90 he goes, and Isaac Price doesn't really fight it too much. Ooh, a bit sideways there, a bit of a drift from Luke Whitehead. I thought he was just going to continue spinning out, and that would have been unfortunate, but he holds onto it nicely. But that poor exit for the Porsche driver is going to allow Isaac Price to get straight back into the slipstream. He's going to be fighting as they come over the top of the hill then, up towards the bus stop, goes to the left hand side, going to try and go around the outside on the top, and the straight line speed of the BMW is just going to allow him to get breeze right past Luke Whitehead again. And he's going to have to do it all over again in the Porsche sideways, and maybe, as you were saying, the Porsche being a bit more worse for wear on tyres, maybe that is already only 20 minutes since his pit stop, is causing him a few problems.
Yeah, it really is. You could see how out of shape that Porsche was getting coming across the order there. So Luke Whitehead really struggling to stay in that top 5, and he gets bumped out by Isaac Price. And again, the charge from Mikhail Bykov and Igor Ogorodnikov seems to have come to an end, as we've got just 25 minutes left to this race. And Darren McCormack, for all the pace that he had on the back of Tinko van der Velde, the Tinko's actually stayed on to the back of him 0.3 of a second, as Robbie Stapleford brings that gap to under 3 seconds as well. Trevor Wenham in 4th, Isaac Price in 5th, Luke Whitehead. Oh, there's contact ahead, and Whitehead gets caught up in that. That's 2 back markers, and there's chaos, and that is Mikhail Bykov into the wall, and that is a huge hit for the BMW, and there is going to be some big arguments about that one. Oh my dearie me, that was a heavy hit.
Well, you could argue that that was Price's fault, but really, should the back marker have moved himself out the way a lot sooner? Just going very slowly on the racing line. We already saw something like that happen earlier on in the race, where one of the outside the top 20, following up the S's, a little tag in the back is all it took to spin them. So, what's your thoughts on that one? I mean, I must say that could easily have been prevented if the back marker just followed blue flags there.
Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out. So Whitehead, because I thought it was Bykov that got caught up in it, but I'm wondering if it was actually all of the back markers, because everyone else seems to be still going well. So we'll have to try and see if we can get a replay of what on earth happened there. That was just a bit bonkers, to say the absolute least on that. However, what that does do is that does spread the field a little further out, and yeah, race controller likely going to have to pick the bones out of that one later on tonight.
It's going to be a longer talk, as we're going to get a replay of it. I believe this is... What happened? Oh, we're on board with Bykov, trying to thread the needle through the gap, can't quite get it done, and into the hand side barrier. So yes, Bykov was caught up in, but I think Delfante might have been as well. I saw one of the Audis in a very similar livery to Eric Delfante. Maybe it was one of the back marks we saw earlier on, though, which we thought that the race leaders were lapping Delfante when it wasn't. It was one of the other Audi drivers. So questions to be answered there with that mistake, as now Anton Tarasov trying to get past Nirola in the 144 BMW. Another little scrap of the BMW, as that's a very different camera as we've seen everyone else. He looks very comfortable as well. We saw Isaac Price very hunched up. He said he drives very weird. One thing I wanted to point out about the way Isaac Price drives, that we saw from his face cam, he drives very hunched up, very cramped, which looked very uncomfortable. But Anton Tarasov, on the contrary, very relaxed, very, what I would say is probably the most comfortable, at least for me. So, how do you think, as he drifts a bit wide, how do you think how the drivers sit will impact them?
It doesn't really matter too much to begin with in terms of their posture, because it's such a short race. I mean, an hour and a half, yes, it is, can go on. If they're doing like 3 hours or a big stint during a long race, then obviously it becomes an issue, as well as looking after yourself in terms of like getting fluids on board and comfort breaks and all the rest of it. But 90% of these drivers, I would imagine, Dylan, are in these sim rigs, these all-in-one units that hold the steering wheel and have a comfy padded racing seat on them. So for the most part, they're usually going to be absolutely fine. I don't think that it's going to affect them too much.
You'd like to think, though, depending on how you're sitting, though, your arms will get very tight, especially like if you've got a direct drive wheel. We saw, was it Robbie Stapleford? It was one of the leading cars last time out, Bathurst over the top of the mountain, really fast. I think it was Stapleford, because he always liked to wander at the top of Skyline and drift a bit wide just before VS's, and especially when we've got such the force feedback that a direct drive wheel would give you, and if you're not in the most comfortable position, surely your arms will just get very tired, and at the end of it, I'm very thankful for that checkered flag. I mean, I know personally I would be struggling to do any sort of long time with, you can see the amount of force that Adrian Otomachi has to put through his wheel just to get through the toe. Difficult corner nonetheless, a bit off camber uphill. Going to struggle. This is now Dennis Schoops, was race leader for a slight bit. Oh, what are you doing? As I'm going to tap back into there. It's like Dan Lenzen, yes. Trying to get a bit of a revenge tap there. I mean, he's going to have to go into the pits, I think. Lenzen eyeing that one up. Yes, he's picked up damage from that. So what was going on there?
Yeah, look, obviously the BMW was absolutely furious at Dennis Schoops there. He's going to feel like, oh, there's going to be contact in the final corner, both of them into the pit lane. Well done, boys. That's 10 out of 10 for synchronised diving there. What's going on? Why is everybody outside the top 20 just knocking lumps out of each other here? It's the final 20 minutes and they've just decided, right, let's just go for it. Look, the simple thing is that that BMW is going to feel very, very aggrieved there. Got sent into the wall, and yes, that is very naughty. You could see that there was an intentional retaliation attempted there. I'm not going to lie and say that I've never done that myself. Sometimes, unfortunately, Dylan, the red mist comes over you, and you're just so annoyed. Listen, I've got problems with my temper at the best of times anyway. It doesn't even need for that to happen. But yeah, it's an unfortunate flash reaction, and it's just grateful that it didn't actually result in anything worse happening. What is that? Come on, that is Aidan Walsingham onto the back of, was that Bykov? That was Mikhail. I'll tell you what, Dylan, right, there are people you can do that to. Yigar Ogorodnikov and Mikhail Bykov. I tell you what, Aidan Walsingham better sleep with one eye open after that one tonight.
Well, we saw Bykov get a penalty for his driving standards last time out, so that's not someone I'd want to be hunting down. He's going to be taking a few puffs off his vape, giving him that extra bit of power just to hunt Walsingham back down again. But as you were saying with the driving standards outside of the top 20 dropping down, well, that was in the top 10. And I think my reasoning may be that the beers are going cheap here up New York State at Watkins Glen, and maybe the drivers have just been able to get a few with the prices being so low potentially, and now it's affecting my driving. Not something I would actually recommend. Please don't actually go out and do that. Even if you're in a sim where we commentated a 12-hour race for SSR I did at Catalonia, and we spotted some nice beers on one of the Dutch teams, a HQ that they had put in one of the Discord servers, and then went on to have a bit of a horrific race with lots of instances. So even though it's in a sim, it's not something I'd recommend, and I do hope that no one's actually been doing that. We are hoping for the cleanest of races, but I mean, some of the drivers are going to have to look in the mirror here and just call themselves off a bit, because it is now getting a bit too much. I mean, yes, you could argue that just little taps in the back, maybe a bit of bump drafting, spinning them, fair enough. But again, being a bit too reckless, we saw what happened up at turn number 9 with absolute chaos. It's just unneeded, it's uncalled for, and just lay off a bit. There's 15 minutes to go. We mentioned earlier, to finish first you have to finish, and even though you're not in the running for maybe even points, still have your dignity with you just to finish and have a clean race and not pick up any penalties, because as well as it makes you look bad, it's also unfair to the drivers around you, because if you can't keep your temper down, you're not only ruining it for yourself but everyone around you, and it's just not giving you, or especially with a lot of these drivers racing for teams, it's not giving your team a good look either.
100%. I couldn't have said that any better myself there, Dylan. It's all about the representation for the brands that they drive for. And look, for me, going back to that incident with Walsingham and Bykov, right? The initial contact, that's just a racing incident. That it can happen anywhere. And this is a real deep bugbear of mine, especially, and it's really bad in the ACC as well, especially at this so-called top level, the amount of drivers that just keep the foot in and just, because that's exactly what happened there with Walsingham, is the fact there was the initial contact, Bykov, the tail of the car starts swinging around, he just keeps the accelerator going, just drives straight through the car like it doesn't exist. I'm sorry, but that at that point, that's when it becomes deliberate. That's when, and the thing is yeah, I know there's a lot of chat going on about how we should have, real-time stewards. It's not available. That was a technical issue that means that that's not available. That will be exchanged for post-race Bentleys, and I can imagine that Bykov will be protesting that, and that will likely be a significant penalty that gets given to Aidan Walsingham for that one, because at the end of the day, it's gained him one position. For me, that's just such a stupid move, because what's likely going to happen? What, he gets like a 30-second penalty for that deliberate contact there, right? You end up losing, what, 5, 6, 7 positions, when, in all truth and honesty, right, if he just let off the accelerator, let Bykov get the position back again and get going, yes, he might have lost the position to Oniko, but again, you might have then completely neutralised any reaction from the stewards then. It's just, yeah, it's really annoying.
Maybe without the live stewarding, maybe a bit of an increase in penalties, maybe, so like sort of 10 seconds up to 15 seconds. It's not much, but it's one of those things, we're not here live, but we're still here. Stamp your foot down, stamp your authority, because maybe that is something, maybe the drivers are aware that there aren't live stewarding, and maybe they're being a bit reckless with it, and it's not on, because we want to have a good race, we want to watch a good race, and it's just not happening. Well, we've got good racing here as Clyde Barney is trying to go past Arnico. Arnico tries to squeeze him as they're going towards the bus stop. Thinks about it, and that's clean. We've seen some people, I think Luke Whitehead did it, or one of the Porsche drivers, either Luke Whitehead or Trevor Wenham, would almost squeeze Robbie Stapleford onto the grass. And there's a line which some of the drivers are abusing today. Again, Roman Jacqui nearly squeezed into the wall there by Regan Mitchell, trying to force him to go the very long way around. And again, it's one of those things. It's fair, but it's a bit dirty. It's perfectly fine to do what you're saying on you were within the track, but it's just a bit rude to go and force someone that wide. It's like a lack of respect for the drivers around you, and it's going to be a cause for concern of the stewards that maybe into next round they are going to have to say, look, it's not on, you need to sort yourself out here, because as much as we want to watch good racing, we want to watch it to be clean and fair, and we don't want these constant crashes regardless of where you are on the order, either in the race or on the championship standings. It's still, here in the moment, your reputation and your team's reputation is going to be tarnished if you're just going to drive like a moron.
Dylan, how old are you again, buddy? Because I tell you what, I'm 38, and you've got the moaning capability of me. We really need to get together off stream and have a proper good whinge. I think we'd take up many nights with our gripes. But certainly back to the race itself, and somehow it was like 25 minutes to go, and now it's suddenly 11 and a half minutes to go. Well, there we go. Right. Darren McCormack out in front now by 3 seconds, or near enough 3 seconds, over Tinko van der Velde. It's then Robbie Stapleford in 3rd position. It's Trevor Wenham in 4th position. Isaac Price in 5th. Luke Whitehead in 6th. Eric Delfante in 7th. Igor Ogorodnikov in 8th position. Aidan Walsingham in 9th. Mikhail Bykov in 10th position as well. So that's your top 10 right now. 10 minutes left to go, and truthfully, I mean, all of the top 10, separated by numerous seconds here, so it looks like you're not really going to have too much shaken up in these final 10 minutes. A lot of the drivers just looking to round off this final couple of laps.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at the gaps, it's all starting to stretch out a bit now, and I would much rather have these stretched out gaps than people being put in the wall, in all fairness. But going back to how old how old am I? I'll leave chat to decide how old I am. They can have a gander and keep themselves busy, because right now Darren McCormack is flying away from everyone else. He's now doing the sort of Igor Ogonovikov second half of Bathurst, if they can pull away and just leave chat to have a bit of fun and try and work out how I am. Cheers for that, Steve. I'm gonna throw a brick at you. I'm kidding. No, we love you, Steve. You've done absolute wonders on via TV directing, as always. But yeah, right now, Dara McCormack, he's finally got past Tinker van der Velde, and he's absolutely loving it. This is only Con and Barney going at it again. They've been going at it for a while, and this is probably going to be the last little battle we're going to really see, because everything is just stretching out now, and it's fair enough. The race is quieting down. We've got a bit longer than last time as Barney trying to close up, can't quite get it done, moving back onto the line, kicking up a bit of dust. That's not going to do your tyres any good, especially going into the bus stop. A very fast and dangerous sort of area of the track. I wouldn't want any sort of dirt or gravel on my tyres at all as they are approaching back markers. Just go letting them through. That's how you actually get it done. You don't put a back marker in the wall, as there's Barney drifting a bit wide there through turn number 6 at Laces. What a name of a corner that has to be. But it's it's starting to quieten out a bit. I think maybe as well with the amount of instances we've had, all of these close battles have now been stringed out as well, because damage and such, it's lesser performance, which is something none of us want really. Which is another reason why we hope for clean sort of racing in none of these instances, because it does keep it together all the way to the checkered flag.
Yeah, that's it. And it's tight, hard racing, I guess. That's what it all boils down to. And we always see this type of stuff at this level. It's the other way to look at it as well is like, this is how much this means to them. This is how hard they're willing to fight to push things to the absolute limit. And you know, part of me, as much as I whinge about it, part of me loves it, because I love the drama. I love all of the chaos going on. It's safe to say chat is starting to deteriorate. Well, we'll leave that one by. Oliver Anderson, I'm sorry, that does deserve to be highlighted.
I have interviewed you, Oliver. I have interviewed you live on stream before. Thank you very much. I have nothing but respect for you. Where's the need for the comment there, mate? Oh, that is heartbreaking as Dennis Shoops tries to go around the outside of Alan Drake Cruz, probably my favourite name in the entire grid. Alan Drake Cruz, they're the Filipino driver. As they go up towards the S's, it's going to be BMW versus Honda as we go all the way up toward trying to go around the outside at the top of the hill there. Can Dennis Shoops get it done? He's not going to be able to quite yet. He's going to have to get the power of that Honda in towards the bus stop round the outside. Can he get it done? Thinks better of it. Smart move there. We've got 7 minutes left. He may as well make the checkered flag and not put it in the barrier. Very close to the back as they go in towards the outer loop there, having to slam on the brakes a bit more than he would have liked to. But he tries to get a good exit. He lines up in towards Laces, brakes very early. He's going to swing round for a later apex, trying to get the throttle down as early as possible. And I think it's going to get him right onto the back of Drake Cruz there, in towards Toe. Is going to send him very defensive, moving on the braking there a bit. Going to have to be careful, Alan. You don't want to be picking up a penalty for something that silly. Dennis Shoops having to take a bit of evasive action, braking a bit more than he probably would have wanted, but tucked into the back on the straight of the boot in towards the heel. He's not going to be close enough there, but going back towards the, yes, we love the drama, and yes, we do like this. It's a part of racing. Chat pointed out that these crashes and sort of thing, it is a part of racing, yes, and it is something we're going to have to get used with. It is going to happen. These crashes, real life, sim racing, whatever, it will happen. It's something we're going to have to get used to. It's unfortunate that it happens. We wish it didn't, but it happens. Yes, we love the drama, but it doesn't mean we can't complain, because we would rather have clean racing than people just struggling out there.
Yeah, well, 6 minutes left to go in the race, and we are rattling down the laps. Daniel McCormack now 3.6 seconds ahead of Tinko van der Velde. Thomas Lyons on the YouTube chat is asking about how the drivers face each race weekend. It's actually a question I've asked quite a few of the drivers about the preparation and the work that they do into preparing for the races, as this is going to be Yannick Valentuk onto the back end of Simoniette. It's not going to happen possibly on the back straight here. In terms of race preparation, you'd be amazed at how little prep the drivers actually do. Usually they're doing 3, 4, 5 races every week. And a lot of the drivers that I've spoken to after the race, they're just like, well, I turned up for practice and that's about it. Maybe for the American tracks that were just released a couple of weeks ago, the drivers might have been putting a little bit more practice in, but for the most part, they know the cars, they know the track, and they know how things are going to pan out. What they don't know is how the other drivers are going to react here. What you've also got to remember is these drivers do hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, of laps every month, and that is going to be a bit of a wobble for the BMW in front of Simonietta, and that is like candy from a baby for Yannick Valenduc up into P21, and that is going to be a very, very frustrated Ietta in that 858 machine. And unfortunately, that is just what happens when you push these tires a little bit too hard, Dylan.
Yannick Valenduc there, a bit of a sigh of relief when he got past Ietzi. And something I'm a bit shocked about is Simonietta, how low down he actually is in the order. He was a point scorer last time, he was 9th in the championship. He's one of the quickest drivers I've personally seen race, absolutely dominant in the SSRI Endurance Series. I'm shocked he's not even running in the points there, and a mistake from a driver like Ietza. Quite surprising, but on board with the ever so calm and collected looking Robbie Stapleford, going to looking like he, barring any instances around the track and with himself, looking like he's going to be finishing 3rd, as the Williams boys are too far up the order really for anything to happen now. I think it's safe to say, barring any incidences, the top 3 is probably settled. And the big question is, how will that affect the championship standings? Because Stapleford and McCormack are close together, and I think McCormack will jump to the top of the standings, as Igor Ogonodikov is down in 8th, so he's not going to be scoring many points. He's going to be getting 13, whereas Stapleford will be getting 20, and McCormack will be getting the 30. So I think we'll have a new championship leader there with Dara McCormack if the race finishes as it currently stands. As we do see him, he's looking a lot more smiley and calm, or smilier and calmer than he did at the start of the race. He was looking very angry and fiery at the start of the race. He knew he had the pace to win this race, and he rightly so deserves it, in my opinion, especially with the comeback that he had. So every praise to him so far with how this race has gone.
Yeah, you're absolutely spot on with that as well. Again, he looks much more relaxed, much more calm and chilled coming through these final couple of corners here. But again, we have to take a quick minute to talk about Williams Esports, and they've been around for many years now, but it seems to be this past 12 months they've really kind of hit the jackpot in terms of the strategy, in terms of how they're performing, in terms of their outlook and the drivers that they've got on board. It's just it's a remarkable turn of form for them, and Dara McCormack and Tinko van der Velde here tonight showing exactly that.
Yeah, it's been an absolute sublime performance from both Williams boys. In all honesty, they've absolutely stormed this race. I mean, neither of them started in the top 3 either. They had to work their way up, started getting past all the Porsches. One thing to note is Fiala, he started 3rd and got taken out in the first lap skirmish, as well as the Ferrari driver George Boothby. So he's the first lap incident happened, what if sort of thing, because we would have had Fiala in this, we would have had the Ferrari of Boothby in here, as that's Isaac Price finally getting, or Isaac Price and Luke Whitehead still going at it actually, so it's not just finally getting past. Those two are still going at it for about 30 minutes now, so Isaac Price is a sort of cramped positioning, taking 4th back, as he's still in it really in the championship, so especially how this race has turned out with Baikov and Ogonodikov not doing anything, sort of thing where if Price didn't mess up and ruin his pole position and have to start in the pits last week, where would he be in the championship standings? And it's always going to be what ifs with drivers. What if I didn't do this? What if I maybe broke a little bit earlier and didn't have this incident? Or it's these little things where you could look back, or maybe if I went was a bit more aggressive, took that position. Come the end of the championship, it's always going to be down to you're going to be thinking of these things. So how do you think that might affect the drivers when they're in that seat as we approach the final lap, where they will look back at the season and the race, and maybe if they lose a position by a point or two in the standings, going, oh, well, maybe if I did that, how do you think that will affect them in the moment on the track, going, well, I should go for it, because what if X, Y, Z happens, and not going for this could affect me in the long run?
Again, it's a question I've asked in some of the previous championships that I've covered, and again, you'd be surprised to know that the answer is, 9 times out of 10, they just work really hard at blocking it out. As we're on the final lap here for Darren McCormack, they block it out because they have to. They can't allow themselves to get eaten up by what if this, and also the amount of championships that these drivers are taking part in, Dylan. You know, as soon as one ends, they're already in the middle of two, and then there's another one just round the corner as well. So it's this constant revolving door of championships that they're going through. Certainly, there's a lot of room for looking back on results and maybe trying to learn from lessons that they can take. But for the other part of it, it's just kind of put it to the back of your mind and move on. That's certainly what seems to be the recurring message from a lot of these drivers. But as we're on the final lap of this race, we're going to stick with your race leader, Darren McCormack, looking very cool, calm, collected, as we pointed out before. He's got a lapped car in front of him. He's not, I would imagine, even going to try this one. 5 seconds to the good on Tinko van der Velde, coming down through the final couple of corners now. This long left-hander, and again another sweeping left-hander, and then on to the final right-hander as well. It's all that stands between him, Williams Esports Chill Blast, and a race win here in round 2 of the Simsport Racing International Cammus Community Cup, and it's Darren McCormack that takes the race win. Tinko van der Velde makes it still 1-2 for Bentley and Williams Esports Chill Blast there. It's going to be third place. Brilliant effort from Robbie Stapleford in third position for BMW G2 Esports. They get a 3-4 with Isaac Price in fourth position as well. Trevor Wenham will finish in fifth. Luke Whitehead in sixth. Eric Delfanti is going to finish in seventh. And your championship leader, or your former championship leader, Igor Okorondikov, finishing in eighth position. It's going to be ninth position for Aidan Walsingham and 10th for Oniko. Clyde Banney will get 11th. Mikhail Baikov in 12th position. Petrocini in 13th, and Millard will hopefully get that 14th position. But my goodness me, what a race we've had here, Dylan. And it's safe to say, I think Dara, I mean, we cannot overlook that, right? He was sent to, I think it was 8th position when he had that contact on lap 1 or lap 2, and fought all the way back to get to the top of the leaderboard there, Dylan, and a resounding victory.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I also saw, if you told me at the start of the race that we'd see Darren McCormack busting out a smile there, I would have told you absolutely no. But you can see how much that race meant to him. Yeah, stuck down 8th or 9th. He was at the back end of the top 10, and what a brilliant drive to come through. You saw how fiery he was, clearing the traffic very early on. And it's not like they were a weak competition either. There was, Ogonodikov, Baikov, Stapleford, and Isaac Price. So there were quick drivers that he had to clear, and he cleared them with relative ease, and then got onto the back of the Porsches, got past Wenham and Luke Whitehead, and then got past eventually his teammate Tinko van der Velde. It was just absolutely a drive of the, out of the two races, probably the drive out of all of the 40 or so cars we've had on. So absolutely cracking race for him there, and he deserves every bit of that win, and he can milk it as much as he wants because he thoroughly deserves it.
Yeah, Tinko van der Velde, of course, finishing in second place there, Dylan. Again, another great performance from him. 5 seconds behind Darren McCormack, but crucially 10 seconds ahead of third place there of Robbie Stapleford. So it's going to be a very, very good night for the Williams Esports team. Yeah,
cracking out of champagne. Not something they've been able to do in F1 recently, but their Sim boys definitely able to pull out the bag today. Dominant performance. They deserved a beer or two after that one. Well and truly pat themselves on the back for absolutely fast racing from both of them, and it was clean as well. We wasn't seeing these sort of contact. There was some of the only few. They weren't having these sort of inter-team battles, and it's so easy to go and take your teammate out when you're racing like that. So it was disciplined racing as well from, which is very good to see from the teammates, and they deserve every bit of this victory today.
Yeah, absolutely. Robbie Stapleford for BMW Team G2 Esports, along with Isaac Price taking 3rd and 4th position as well. We didn't see much of them in the early stages of the race, but about just before halfway, that is when Robbie Stapleford started cutting shapes and making moves as quickly as he could. And speaking of the devil himself, we're just waiting for the drivers to make their way in, but I do believe we have Robbie Stapleford in the waiting room to have a chat with us. So Robbie, without further ado, 3rd place tonight. That was that was a bit of a spicy race.
Yeah, definitely. That was good. They didn't really ignore quali, didn't really get the best quali, but it weren't too bad. And yeah, just avoiding the crashes pretty much, and then just making my way through slowly, and became home P3. So it's not much more I can ask for around a track what really ain't great for the BMW.
So random question, but are you actually a robot? Because we were watching your webcam during the race, and it was like you were just looking so cool, calm, and collected, and no emotion whatsoever. I'm taking it must be rather warm in that room down there.
Yeah, it's too warm. I've got a fan and an air conditioning unit, and I'm still sweating. But yeah, I got a drink here to keep me warm, to keep me cool.
And obviously, moving to BMW Team G2 Esports this season, we're already a fair bit in, so you've had a chance to bed yourself in. What's the changeover been like for you?
Yeah, I used to drive McLaren with Rocket, and then I came over to the BMW. It's so different. This is much easier to drive, but trying to extract the time out of it's more difficult. So pretty much just gotta try and set up as aggressively as possible, but not lose too much in traction, because it struggles in traction. So.
And obviously, looking forward to the rest of the season, some excellent championship points for yourself. You must be fairly happy looking ahead to next week.
Yeah, the BMW ain't great around Snetterton, but I only did one days of practice today because I was only practicing for SRO, so maybe do more and we might be able to get the win, but we'll see how it goes next week.
Excellent stuff. Well, listen, Robbie, thanks very much for joining us tonight, and congratulations on 3rd place.
Cheers.
2nd place then, Tinko van der Velde joining us now. And Tinko, firstly, right, when you saw what happened to Dara, obviously I can imagine you were sympathising with what went on, but I mean, what is the fear like when you just see that Delta relative to Dara coming down and down and down behind you? At which point are you just like, please don't hit me?
Oh, well, I know this Dara is always going to come close to me, so contact is always going to happen a little bit, but it's just fair racing in the end, and it was really fun out there.
And obviously the pair of you have got fantastic pace tonight. What was that, 15 seconds ahead of the rest of the field? Do you think this was just a track that suited the Bentley, or was that just the pair of your superior driving style?
We are used to the Bentley because we drive a lot in SRO, so we know a lot about it and can set it up really good for the race. So you could see it, we were quite far off in quali, so I don't think we had the strongest car, but with our race setup we're really strong.
And obviously we could see you two laughing a couple of times during the race. What's the spirits like on the voice chat? What's the banter like with Dara?
Oh, really good. We're just constantly enjoying ourselves, having a laugh. The battle was so much fun, and yeah, just great. And we want more of that.
Excellent stuff. Well, listen, congratulations on the 2nd place. Another great result for Williams Esports. We'll see you next week.
Thank you. See you next week.
So there we go, Tinko van der Velde for Williams Esports taking 2nd place, and here he is, Mr. Now he's cool, calm and collected, now he's calmed down, Dara McCormack, right, that is a side to you I have not seen so far. You were absolutely raging for the first 20 minutes of that race.
Rage? I wouldn't say I was raging, I was quite calm about what happened. But,
your face looked like you were like thunder, you looked very determined, shall we say.
I was concentrated. I was making sure I was getting through everybody cleanly and no contact. the incident at the start was just unlucky. There was nothing I could do. You know, when you go over that bump, you have no control over the car. So sorry to avoid that. I mean, he came away cleanly from it, so it was okay. Yeah, I mean, as Tinko said, we set up the car really, really well. We were happy with it. We didn't really do much practice, and Tinko nailed the quali setup for us, and then we just changed a few things for the race. So yeah, it was a great result overall. I mean, P1, P2. What more could you ask for?
A fantastic result, as you said, for Williams Esports, but I think the result of the race kind of plays over the fact of what you actually did in that race. To go all the way down to, I believe it was 8th position, and come through at the pace you did and still take the lead from Tinko van der Velde there. Also, the bit that I wanted to ask you about, when you're on the back of your teammate there, and I saw those moves, those little jinks from left to right. Now, was that just a little bit of playful fun, or were you just trying to put him off?
Playful fun, but I'm also like creating an opportunity later down the road. You know, maybe mess with his brain a little bit. That's what I do usually.
What was the voice chat like when you were doing that? Was he just like, "Please don't hit me"?
Yeah, and we're also just having a normal chat as well. We're friends, so it was just a nice chill environment. I mean, the battle was amazing. I saved the replay and probably put that on YouTube. That was amazing. So yeah, I mean, I don't think I was unreal respect, and I have unreal respect for him. So yeah, I mean, it was really good, fair racing, and I loved it. Nothing more, nothing less.
And no, obviously you said that you know, having a chat with Tinko, one of your good friends. What difference do you think that makes, having yourselves as teammates then? Because obviously you get on really, really well with the guy. Do you think that makes for a better partnership?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, once you're working together and you're really happy with your teammate, like, you want to share all your things that you found in the car, like your setup stuff, like just advice in general. And fair fighting is, I mean, I love it. There's nothing better. I mean, I think we work perfectly together whenever we race together. So, and this proved that once again, very little practice. I mean, me and Tinko probably did about 30 laps before we came into the server. So, yeah, there wasn't much coming in, and we still came away with a perfect result. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anything to say about us working together. I think we work together perfectly.
Yeah, you definitely do, and I think the result shows that. Right, last question, and we'll let you get away for the evening. Obviously, next week we're off to Snetterton. What's your thoughts on that? And obviously, championship blown wide open.
I think it would be blown more wide open after Snetterton, considering I hate the track and the Bentley sucks there. So, yeah, I mean, you've got the Porsche, which is clear fastest by like a tenth, and then you got the BMW, which is second fastest, and then the Audi, which is third. So they're all in between like 2/10 of each other, doing mid 44s, and the Bentley's just stuck mid 45s. So unless we find something special in the car, we're gonna be nowhere. So, yeah, I mean, that round's pretty much a write-off. Actually, I'm just thinking I might have to miss it. I'm actually going to the French GP, so I'm not sure if I can make that one, but hopefully I do. Hopefully, and yeah, I mean, if Tinko's racing, I wish him the best of luck in it.
Well, fingers crossed. Listen, thank you for an amazing display of talent tonight, Darren McCormack from Williams Esports, and we'll potentially see you next week, but you might be at the GP instead. You lucky sod.
Hopefully, yeah. Thank you.
So there we go then. So Dylan, that is an interview for our podium winners tonight. But final thoughts on that 90-minute race? Madness.
Yeah, I mean, chaos, brilliant racing. It's all you really want from a race. You can't ask for more, really. The only thing you can look forward to is next week at Snetterton. I mean, Darren McCormack saying that the Bentley's not very good at Snetterton. Well, he said that last week, that the Bathurst isn't the best for the Bentley, and none of the tracks he'd picked the Bentley for the qualifying rounds, and then the calendar came out for the main season, and the Bentley sucked on all the tracks, and he's come out with a podium and a race win. So if he does race next week, he can probably eat his own words, because he said so far that the Bentley sucks, and so far he's proven that he's got some talent behind a car that is not very good, apparently.
Well, that's what we're going to have to wait and find out. We're only going to have to wait one more week before we are back on the stream here at Simsport Racing International for that 60-minute race at Snetterton. But I've been David Christie. Alongside me in the commentary box, as always, has been Dylan Peck. Dylan, thank you so much for your company tonight. We will see you all bright and early at around about the same time next week. And until then, from everyone here, a huge thank you to our production team behind the scenes of Steve Proudley, and a huge thank you to you at home for watching. We will see you next week. Have a brilliant weekend, and get that Factor 50 on.